beach cruiser custom bicycle that I built from scratch, and really I mean it, from scratch. Everything from just metal tubing and stuff. I am now concentrated in my childhood dream is the car, building a car, but the childhood dream has developed like everything in my life, and I am going this way, not building a regular car, but I'm going the way of a little bit rockabilly hot rod styling. So the decision I went for is to build a car that looks like no other car, just my own inspiration, my own design. But later I got an inspiration from the old Dixie BMW, DIXI, and I want to build something that looks similar but a bit more hot rod. So like you see here in the front, I have those small motorcycle wheels. On the rear I'm gonna put real car, modern car wheels that looks a bit thicker and bigger than the front ones like hot rods. I'm building this thing from scratch. As you see here, I have metal tubes. All measurements I'm gonna give are millimeters. So this is 70 to 20 millimeters. No, I'm sorry. This is 30 to 30 millimeters. And I got everything almost on eBay. Those are Simpson wheels. Simpson is an East German communist motorcycle or moped, and the thing will be 2.50 meters long. The frame, I'm speaking about the frame, maybe 2.40 meters, but because I don't have a fixed design, I'm just working and discovering things. This is my front axle that I built, the axle. I am building, I still need to weld it. So I got those metal, I cut them, I bent them, and they are gonna be those brackets. They are very thick brackets. They're gonna be up and down to make it look like a real hot rod front axle from the 30s. Now, as you can see here, this car is gonna be a 125cc Suzuki GN motor, and the motor will be in the front like all regular hot rods, and on the rear I'm gonna put a grass tractor, or how to call it in English, a differential. Will be everything related with chain, and the most important thing is the reverse gear. I don't have reverse gear on that motor, so I'm gonna build my own idea, and you're gonna discover that with me. Those are not gonna stay like this. They're gonna be chopped here, and steering wheel will be handmade. This is my dashboard that I bought. I spent a long time yesterday on the hardware market looking for the best piece of wood. The whole thing is gonna be 90 centimeters or 900 millimeters wide and about 2.50 meters long. Okay, I'm speaking about the frame, except the wheels. The wheels will be, with the wheels, it will be I think 1.20 meters in the front and about 1.50 meters in the rear. And I'm just today building my front axle, and everything is gonna be really hand built by me from scratch, even those steering axes and stuff and everything. Now I'm gonna concentrate about bending and working the brackets for the axle, and then later I'm waiting just for the motorcycle, because I bought a whole GN with everything on it, and I'm gonna take the parts, the engine, and I'm gonna just design my frame, how it will be bended in the front and stuff. So I hope you follow my new series, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me for those stupid questions and comments, and not stupid questions, I mean for those stupid comments and thumb down, go to hell and nobody cares about you. If you have any constructive comments or critic or any question, please be welcome and enjoy it. And I'm gonna put many series about that as long as I have time to film and to do stuff, even with pictures, dioramas and stuff, and feel free to ask me. So this thing, as I said, is gonna be something between cycle carts, a hot rod, and a small cart, old timer, old school Dixie from the 30s. I can't give it a name because the suspension will be only on the front. There is no rear suspension. The frame is built the same way like cycle cars. The steering, everything, the motor. So it's a cart, but it's bigger than a cart. So it will be. And the cycle cars are race cars. They don't have lights. This one will have lights. We will have functional speedometers and tachometers and everything on the board. It will have, gears and stuff, even reverse. I was talking about reverse. So this is not 100% cycle cart in the same meaning, but it's not also a hot rod because it don't have V8 or V2 or V4 or 4 cylinders or anything. It's just motorcycle, small mini motorcycle engine. It's 125. If it will not work, because I think it will be heavy here, I'm going to change the engine maybe later. But on the beginning, I'm going to work with 125 cc with 11 horsepower, I think, or 12 horsepower. So, as I said, welcome for the questions. I'm going to be there to answer them, and have a nice day. So I showed already on my channel how I hit metal without using a torch, but I'm going to just show it again. So alright. I think it's hot enough, and I'm just going to try to bend it right now. Oh yeah. And here we are. I just hit it the down cut here, and then I bend it, let it cool, then I hit the middle one, and I bend it and let it cool, and then I hit the third one, and I bend a little bit with a hammer and with this clamp and let it cool again, and it looks pretty good. Alright, as you can see here, the axle is already almost finished. I still have one side from the other and to weld, and I have to make the brackets, U-brackets here mount for the hubs, and then it will be done. And it will be mostly done because there will be other things to do here, the wishbones and a lot of stuff to do. Here are the front suspension that I bought from bicycle rear suspension, and I still don't know if they will stand here or I don't know. So like that, maybe to the inside to make more length from this side to have more suspension power. I still have no idea. I'll design that later. And here's just the frame is standing on the axle, just to take an idea, to give you an idea on what I am doing. I'm building right now. Other thing. Yeah, of course it will be here bended a little bit to the outside because in this cart I'm going to be sitting inside the frame, not on top of the frame. The rear axle is already there. It will be a lot of work to do here because I need to make those 18mm tubes or axle I have to convert them to 30mm. How, I still don't know. So just keep in touch and I'm gonna just show that. I already changed a lot of plans here. From what I'm doing is I'm not gonna get the GN 125. There will be no engine, no things from the GN. I bought a Honda replica 13 horsepower engine, like a recycled car, and I'm gonna try to modify it, just making the tank here on the rear bigger tank, and then a fuel pump that pumps the fuel till the motor. Still don't know exactly if that will work. Please, if you have any advice, just give me that, tell me that in the comments down below. And yeah, I'm gonna remove the tank that comes with the motor and another air cleaner that will be on top of the hood here. Looks nice, like hot rod stuff, and you know. And I still don't know if it will work. Another external tank here with fuel tank with fuel pump that pumps the fuel to the motor. I still don't know. Please, if you have any ideas or help, just tell me that in the comments. I'll be thankful. And yeah, this is how it should be looking like. Speedometers and stuff, I will buy them from other motorcycle brand that is based here in Germany, the Simpson, which I use the wheels. And here in this hub there will be the speedometer cable and how to call it. I will go to the speedometer here. I hope I can find over 1 meter length of speedometer cable, and you know, this is how it will look like, or this is how it looks already like. Still don't know. So thanks for watching and thanks for your feedback. So have a nice day. Oh yeah, another thing I have to mention here is that I'm not going with the go-kart, or how to call it, steering system that is used on the cycle cars, because I got for almost free this thing here for steering gear. As you can see from an old car, it's not that big, and I'm really happy to get that instead of using a lot of modifications and stuff. I'm gonna just install this one here somehow, and yeah, I will get my steering there. I got it for 20 euros, or about 23 bucks, so I'm very happy for that. So as you can see here, I'm working on the steering gear and stuff, and this is the decision I took, because I have here, as you can see, those ones will be cut down, and it's about this big. I don't know, this will be like this, maybe, you know, and about 1 centimeter from each side. And here, so I took this 6mm wall bracket and I just banded it and welded it together. And here are 2 bearings for 8mm bolts, all gonna be on the top, on the bottom of it. And here I got the 25mm 2.5mm wall tubing, and I fitted inside such nuts that are bigger. I think they are 8 or something, that are bigger than my bolts that are gonna go inside. So like this, and they are gonna be welded, of course, here on both sides. It was very fun to do that, you know. And this will be fit here, will be fitting here. Of course, on each side 1 bearing, It's good just working with one hand. Yeah. On the upper side, another bearing, and yeah, the axis of the wheel will be. I'm gonna just cut it here. I will show you the final touch. It will be welded here. Yeah. So, you know, as you can see, just welded the nuts inside the tubing, and with teak, of course. They are gonna make a very nice base to support the bearings here. Yeah, very nice. Very happy with that. This is not going anywhere. Okay, now our tubing are inside each other, as you can see here. This is the 30mm, this is the 25mm. Both are 2.5mm thickness, and this is the how to call it, inside welded. And now I'm just gonna grind it here to look the same, to make it look the same, and then I'm gonna weld it. Here it is, welded together. So I'm gonna just do the other side, and then I have 3 others to go. Yeah. So as you can see, the work is going very slowly here, process, and I'm just working on the steering part here. I welded the nut, I welded the bolt on that metal tubing that I already showed. I'm just gonna hang a wheel out there. So here we have it, here's the wheel, and yo. Yeah. Of course there must be something here in between, still don't know. Still working on it, and as you can see, here's the wheel cover. Come here. 2. So we have already 1 wheel mounted out there. But we're still too much far from done. See here, let's suggest this is the ground. So we have about 3 inches. I'm talking about 10 centimeters or more up from the ground. And, pretty happy with it here right now. And all my frame side numbers, the 30mm to 73mm wall thickness, and I decided I'm gonna take the form of my frame. I have it right here. So as you can see, this will be 90 centimeters or 900mm in the middle. And the length will be 2.50 meters, and here 50 centimeter. So I have to go curvy here and then go back, and from other side
I don't know how this camera focus, but yeah. This will be 70 millimeter. Okay, from the bottom, from the top end, the front end point, it will be 30 centimeter till this curve here, and then 70. So from here to here, it will be 1 meter about. So I took my side member and I made 1 meter, and then I made 5 lines here. I don't know if you can see them, yeah. And I'm gonna cut until the end here, on the other side too, and then I will put them in the bending machine and try to bend them slowly and carefully and gently.
Security first, because I had enough accident for this year. I don't want to repeat that.
Again, I put here the thin disc, and let's rock and roll. So I already cut them. I made a mistake here, but it's not very important because I have to match both. You know, as you can see here already it moves. So before I bend it, I have to match another one. I have to put another one beside it and match the lines to get the same exactly the same cut, you know. So as you see here, I have some issues. Is that okay? I can bend it with my hands. I don't need a bending machine in this case, you know. But as you can see, I can come here to this point, but I push it from this side. So I have to hit it a bit with a mallet here. Whoop. I think it's enough, and then I have to make a screw here in the wood. So I'll show you that. Okay, this little guy, I don't know if you can see it. It will, here, yeah, it will hold it in place. And then I need to make another one here. And then I have to move my table to weld, already tack welded in place. So this won't be easy. Oh yeah, I have my screw right here. There's a screw here. And if we can see it from this side, I know, yeah. So now I have to move all this table here beside the welder, and I'm gonna tack weld the lines of the cuts and start working on the front side of the side member. So if you already have some knowledge with welding and metalworking, you understand what I mean. So I had to grind it a little bit here to remove that fat and oil and stuff, you know, that covers the bare metal, that covers the metal and conceal the bare metal. I'm gonna TIG weld it. I use a TIG welder. That's the best thing I have. I have MIG and MAG and a lot of other welders, and even stick, but I use this one. It's the only one that holds 2 pieces of metal. You know, it bends with them and don't break. Our first side member is almost done now, because we still have to cut it here and make it we still have to cut it here long and make it thinner. But as you can see right here, I made a mistake already. It's not a mistake because I was not sure from the beginning what should I have to do and stuff. But I can fill it later with something like this bracket here and weld it together. It will be okay. It's not big tragedy, you know. So, alright, as you see everyone, here are my both side members. So, and here we are. Here we are. Okay, I've got this one here. It's actually, as you know, here 70 millimeters. Oops, yeah. So I've got this one from both sides, and then I welded the bottom of the side member to its sides here, you know. I welded it back, and I don't know if you can see that really here from this side. Yeah, it goes 70 millimeters to there, and then it becomes 40. And the reason for that is that my front cross member is going to be this tubing here. It's a 40 millimeter too, and it is going to be welded here. Yeah, but in the inside, you know, still don't know, still working on that. Now I made the circle in my side members from the inside, as you can see, and the first cross member is going to be fitting here. Okay, it fits already well. I just grinded it and stuff, and I'm gonna just make some tack weldings here just to adjust it to the same level. I don't know, high, low, to make it level exactly how it should be. So right now I'm just trying to mount the frame here to just tack weld it together. I have only one cross member till now, is the front one, and everything should be matching actually, but I have some problems. Is that the front side of the frame looks a bit higher. No, I'm sorry, the left side of the frame looks a bit higher than the right side. Still don't know, so I have to measure it a little bit. First of all, tack welding it to make it all together as one piece, and then I start checking the mistakes and failures, and then maybe adjusting it. As you can see right now, I have the cross member tack welded here on the front. The circular one, the rod, a 40 millimeter, and as you can see, the frame here from the side. Here is 40, and on the rear is 70 millimeters. I have this rod. It's not permanently, of course. It's just, it don't belong here anywhere, anyhow. But I just welded it, tack welded there to make it to make the frame one piece. You know, to join the both side members together. And later I'm gonna put it on the ground and try to adjust it and check if it's already alright or not. You know. For the first one, I welded them. For the first time, I welded them both on the top of the side members, and later I had to move the left one a few centimeters, I think about 3 centimeters to the down, because the front side didn't match. As I said, the left side was higher than the right side. So later, when I put it on the ground, I didn't find another solution. I tried to bend it with my own weight, but it didn't work. So I had to do it this way, you know. Check this out. I just connected it to the front end, or IBM axle, and then I saw that this side, the right side, was a bit higher, so it means that something is wrong. Then I cut the left side because it was easier to cut it, this cross member rod that I could, you know, not forever, it will just say right now there. So I decided, the other side fell just down to the ground, so I just took a little bit of measurements, and I made sure that it is, for the moment, parallel and everything okay, and then I just welded it where it was touching. So I hope this worked, and later I'm gonna just weld another cross member in the front side. It will be here, where I'm gonna show you my foot, here where this battery is sitting. So I'm using a tripod right now. I got enough from those shaky videos and jumping camera. And as you can see, it looks already like a frame. And I welded the rear cross member. Just tack welded it, some points. The front one, I adjusted the frame, it wasn't straight enough, so I had to do with that. And now I'm gonna do some cross members in the middle. I had a package yesterday with those metal tubes and stuff for the cross members. A very nice thing came in the package too yesterday. That was those two instruments here. This is the voltage. I'm gonna just put them, as I said in a previous video, that I want to work really on my dashboard. I want it to look really cool with such a circular stuff. And I'm still thinking, how do I have to install that oil temperature gauge with the Predator motor I have? It has not only it has already two oil filling holes, and I still don't know. I'm just showing you that. I'm just going to show you that right now. So I don't know if that's visible enough. Yeah, I have one here, and this is where you have your oil measurement. Here. So this one touches inside the oil. Here, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. So I think maybe if I can put my sensor out there. I got an advice from a nice guy called Redbeard Garage, something like that. And he told me I have to drill a hole into my motor block, but I'm not going to do that. And the rear one, okay. And this is the rear one here, as you can see. I don't know if it touches inside the oil, but I think I can modify something to get my oil sensor inside that. And I have another instrument that I got, even it's a temperature instrument. It looks a little bit different, a bit bigger, but it's circular and stuff, and white inside. I'm going to put it even on the dash. I'm going to put the sensor here where the cylinder is, just to have an idea about how hot is my... I don't need the idea, just to look cool and it's functional, Yeah, tachometer, speedometer, everything will be installed out there. I even ordered the spring for the throttle and stuff, I figure out that the frame has to stand on the axle, or even both axles, to make me take better decisions. Where should I have to weld the cross members and the motor mount? So for that, I decided right now to build the springs mount for the suspension here. That will connect the frame to the axle, the front axle. So as you know, here I have those bicycle suspensions, rear suspensions for bicycles. And as I said, the motor is about 40 kilograms. We are sitting on the rear, the frame, everything, and the body maybe will be about 150 to 100 kilograms, and those things are made to resist the 350 or something like that, I don't know, or 400 even kilograms. So you can push them with your hands and stuff, but they will be here. And I'm gonna build the mounts that are gonna be welded here, and they are gonna be then longer because I'm gonna put my main lights here on them. And yeah, they will be this direction, this position. The rest is going to be like that. Yeah. For the suspension, I am going this way. I made those two brackets here. They're going to be strengthened from here and here, and this is the way they're going to hold here. So I'm going to tack weld them, and I'll show you the next step. As you can see here. And the light, the main light. Okay, of course, this will be strengthened a little bit from here, and this one, the top strength bracket, will be a bit longer. I don't know if I have one here. Let's say this one. And the main light is gonna be mounted here. You know? Like that we have two main lights. Yeah, of course. Yeah! Things are going better. Oh yeah. So we have both suspensions right now from the frame side already mounted there. Not already 100% welded, but it's mounted already there. And you know, I'm happy. I've done something for 2016. And I don't know, it's already late, but I would love to come to attach the axle already, but I'll do that 2017, tomorrow I mean. See you. First of all, I wish a happy new year 2017 for everybody. Today we are Sunday, January 1st, 2017. So, right, right now I'm really a bit forward, as I said in my in this same video, as I said before. I'm gonna keep this one for tomorrow today. And this one, okay, so I welded here down some holders for the suspension, and it's already mounted. I mounted it this morning. The point is that it's still not stable, of course, so we need this cross, I don't know, the wishbones from here, I don't remember what to call that. So I drilled it. I drilled holes in these screws. I don't know if the camera focus, yeah. Those screws, I drilled holes here, 8mm, then I pushed this 8mm rod inside them, from this side too, and then I welded it all around with a TIG welder. So then those parts here are now screwed to those mounts that I'm gonna weld. This one will be welded on the I-beam axle, and this one will be welded on the frame. So I'm gonna show that right now. I don't know if I'll be able to show everything here. Moment. All right. The small one will be welded here into the frame, and the big one will be welded here to the I-beam axle. Yeah. And this is how it will be working. So this will stop it from rocking around to the left and the right, and then the wishbones are gonna stop it from rocking to the front and the rear. Two of them will be mounted here, so I have bigger parts like this one for them. Okay, it belongs right now where it have to be, and here. Yeah, I-beam axle is already stable. It don't move anymore. So to the sides, I mean it don't rock to the sides anymore. So still have to make the wishbones layer. Okay, this thing is getting pretty heavy right now. So it's not easy anymore to move it around. But you know, it starts to look like a car or a frame. I don't want to say a car. It starts to look like a frame right now. So here, as you can see, and I tried, because I have the tires are flat right now, so I can't exactly try the suspension, but you feel something, you feel it is responding when you push it, you know. It looks very nice. So I'm gonna try to hold the main lights right now on it, just for fun, and see how it looks like. Okay, those are two motorcycle headlights, yellow, old school looking headlights. They don't have LEDs, they have real bulbs and light bulb inside, and you know, they have everything, main light, and this is how it looks like. I will look through the camera because I can't see, I have to hold them right now. But you know, and about the suspension response, I talked about. I don't know, we can feel it. Yeah, when I push it, you can feel something responding to it. Yeah, very nice. Pretty happy with it now. And now I'm gonna move, I don't know, the cross members or the rear suspension, or I still have no idea. there is no rear suspension, I mean the rear axle, yeah. Still have no idea. Oh, let me surprise you. So I think it's the end for this episode, and next episode will be another episode. And the axle itself, it is a 20mm axle, and the bearings I got are 30mm, and I wanted, it was possible actually to have a 25mm even, but I don't know why I took this decision. So to convert this 20mm axle to 30, I bought a 25mm rod with 2.5mm thickness and the 30mm rod with 2.5mm thickness. Such holes here with welding points inside will help to hold them as one piece together. And you know, of course, as we said here, my engine there, the chain will be on the left side of the car here. So I took another reaction, is that I'm gonna convert the chain from this side to this side using other bearings and another small axle with, you know, some spokes and stuff, and it will come till the middle. So then I have this side, it's very short, so then, you know, I have to lengthen it using the other rods, and yeah, I'm excited about it. Let's see how it's gonna work. So this is how it looks like. I'm gonna just weld inside here, as you can see. Yeah. And yeah. So I had bad times hammering this 30mm rod in, or how to say it, the 25mm inside the 30mm rod. I had very hard time, so it stopped here. I'm not gonna do, I still have this bearing here. Maybe I'm gonna use it to, so I don't have to make two bearings out there. There will be this bearing that lies on the ground, and it will be here from the downside maybe, and yeah, that's enough. So now I'm gonna move to the other side, but I'm gonna work on it other ways, you know. I'm gonna hammer both rods in each other and grind them to make them fit, weld them to each other, and then push them inside, or push the axle inside them. I have our rear axle probably sitting in place. I measured about 17 centimeters from the rear to the first hole here, and yeah, as you see, I have fitted everything. Here the bearings are fitted. You can touch them. Still didn't weld it the distance parts, because I need to figure out with the place and where should they be welded exactly and screwed then, you know. But I'm really very happy to know it will be from the downside, this side will be here. And like that, the frame will be a little bit higher, but it's not a problem. I'll figure out later how it should be done, and after I make body work, it will make many changes. So for today, I don't think that I'm gonna get it all mounted. I'm just trying to drill the holes now and mount the first sides, and maybe for tomorrow I will do the rest. We have our bearings are already there, but with one screw only, just to test it, you know, to see how it will be. And We have the differential out there. Now we need to just sew an adapter kind of stuff to mount the wheels. You know, it is actually working here. We have this bearing here on the sides. They are just to add more strength, you know, to the axle, not to damage the side bearings or the axle, to bend the axle itself, you know. Here are two wheels. Okay, the frame is standing on the wheels, but not really exactly centered in the axle. But, you know. Okay, here are two wheels on the rear. The frame is just standing on them. Not even in the center of them, but yeah. It's standing on the rear axle. There is my differential. And my motor, my front axle with suspension. Yes, I have to figure out, because till now the frame is getting really higher here. I have no idea. It will be okay. Oh yeah, I have some news here. A temperature gauge that I found on eBay and I bought it. It was almost the same price with those things here. And here it is. If I knew, I would have bought two of it at the same time, because this thing has a very, very small sensor. This is very easy to push it inside the inside this, I was said in my other video. And I ordered already one other one for this one here, another sensor. But I still don't know if it. Oops, sorry. I ordered already another sensor like this one for this coach, and I still don't know if it will work with it. But because it is 5 volt and stuff like this one don't need even power. You just need to warm this one, and the temperature will go up. It's amazing. Only you don't have light, but you don't have to plug it into battery power and some such shit like this. It's very nice. Yeah. Oh yeah, something else is new. I ordered from eBay this whole set. It's a brake from a Piaggio scooter, 125cc scooter. And it is complete and works. When you brake here, it stops the disc and everything. I don't know, there is no power supply here or anything to power the brake lights. But I liked it. And then the problem is how I'm gonna mount this disc to the differential to stop both wheels in the same time. You need, I don't know, because I have those adapters I built myself and stuff, so it was a bit complicated. I'm not gonna be able even to push it through this bearing here. I can't remove it, and you know, it was complicated. So then I went for other solution. Is that so? I got those both for 25 euros, including shipping, with another real brake, but I don't need it. So then I went for these discs here. They're a little bit smaller, but you know, my car is not that heavy and it will work. Those are two the same. They came out 13 euros per each piece, and I think 5 euros or something like this shipping. And another brake for the same motorcycle or the same motor scooter. It's a Piaggio 125 scooter, the same caliber, the same everything, and it works. And it has these electric or electronic button, or how to call it, and it works. I tested it already. It works. When you push here, there is current going through, and it breaks. Everything's okay. So I'm gonna find a solution to build the same mount for this brake and the other one, and I'm gonna put them here, I think. But the mount have to be removable in case I need to remove the differential or something like this, you know. Yeah, there will be no much weldings on stuff, and with only 3 holes, and it will work, you know. Yeah. So I need to make something to make those both master cylinders.
and pumps work on one pedal. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. Now comes the good news, but I'm not sure how good it is. I was thinking my whole time about how can I fit a reverse gear in my hot rod cart. You know, that thing that I built is a bit huge, and it's not easy to fit a... I'm sorry again, I'm using my cell phone, it's a quick video. I'm not sure, as I said, this is not like a small cycle cart for one person or a go-kart or stuff. It's a, you know, about full-size car here. And, you know, I was thinking about making some electric motor here on the rear that moves another sprocket and stuff that goes reverse. But, you know, I had many ideas in my head until I came to the idea about using a quad gearbox with reverse gear. Why not? So I checked on YouTube and I found a nice video from some guy who turned a motorcycle or a quad motor with a reverse gear in it into a gearbox. There is no motor anymore. So I bought this one. I got it for 50 euros and 15 euros more for shipping. It's a 125cc quad engine. Still have no idea, because that's why I said I'm not sure how good it is in use. I have no idea if it works. And it has even a starter here and stuff, and it has a reverse gear. Alright, so till now I'm very, you know, optimist. Still have to try it a little bit and look how I'm gonna modify it, and the point will be removing the crank shaft and making it straight as one shaft, you know, and attaching with chain to the other motor, so I have those both. I ordered those both sparks here for 22mm, because in Germany you can't find with 25 and stuff. So then I still have no idea if I have to keep that clutch there. Yeah, but you know, one will be, I think, here somehow, and the other one attached to the clutch or to the motor. I don't know if there is a clutch or stuff here, I have no idea. So I think it must be here, if there is one. Alright, so the motor, the gearbox works here. So as you can see here, I'm turning. So gearbox works here in this motor. As you can see, nothing moves here. When I go forward, and you know, go in this direction. It's automatic actually, so there are no gears up there. I'm going only in one direction. And now neutral, as you see, neutral. And here, one to the rear and the other reverse direction. You see, going to the other side. Alright, so we have the frame here. The motor will be mounted here in the front. We have to consider, here's my light. We have to consider the front end, of course, the axle and everything there. And here, as I said, is the delivered clutch with the motor that I still don't know if I have to remove it or I must remove it, I think. And then a chain will go from here to the so maybe I have to mount the motor a little bit to the right side, I don't know. And yeah, and from here another sprocket that works on this motor. We're gonna drive a chain to the rear of the car. So the problem is we're still so far to the left side. If you're a boat driver or captain, you will understand what I mean when I say the port side, port and starboard. Yeah, this is the left driver's side. So yeah, the more I push the motor to the right, the more the chain goes to the middle. Here, let's say I'm going to be sitting here. Yeah, I will sit already on this. Oh yeah, I'm sitting inside the car. Those are going to be the pedals. Yeah, that's a very shitty place. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so I have to make it that my feet are higher here, I think. Yeah, then the motor, this thing here can be lower, and then the chain will be under my feet. Not exactly where my feet should be. Here's the gas pedal and the brake. Oh. Yeah, gas and brake, because we don't have a clutch here. Yeah, I have no idea. No, I have to mount the motor on that thing first. First of all, this thing must function with the motor. 3 new steps in my hot rod cart project right now is that I connected both front wheels together. So now we have such a kind of steering. This is my steering gear. It's gonna be here, and I still have a place to change the oil. Of course, that will be removed because the key will be here on the dashboard. You know. Yeah. It will be connected to the other wheel, and this one goes to the steering wheel. Right? The motor mount is already built, not 100% welded. Yeah. I have to take the frame apart because it's really very heavy right now. I can't move it myself, you know, so I need somebody to help me. And yeah, the motor sits on its place right now, as you can see. I'm gonna put such a rubber stuff between the motor and the motor mount just to reduce the vibrations. I think most people who build cars or cycle cars or I don't know, they know how I mean with that. So those parts here from the frame are gonna be cut a bit more here and bended to the front, and then there will be longer parts here. I think I'm gonna take brackets and just pin them here to make them circular here now. Yeah, what's more? The rear axle, as you've seen last time, is already mounted. I have here the chain just to test it. You know, just to test, because behind the motor, I'm gonna show that right now. Yeah, as I said, behind the motor, I have here, I just provisionally put these. So this will be the place where my gearbox will be sitting here. It will be connected to the motor through this sprocket, you know what to call it. And you know, there will be a long rod here that activates the primary. And then it will be turning the axle on the rear. The thing why I'm going to do that is just to have the chain in the middle of the car, not that it is here, because from this side it will be on the left side of the car. So I want it to be in the middle, so the primary will be mounted here, and the rod, I'm going to find a way with bearings and stuff how to organize that. Yeah, here I'm going to build the primary mount. I'm going to make it even lower than this level here. And I can see that, yeah, even lower than this level, yeah. Just to have the chain lower in the level, not too high, you know. You don't want to be driving on the chain. Cover is here, you know. It must be in the seating level maybe, or I don't know. Yeah. So till now, very happy. And just, you know, I'm about to drive the chassis, I think. I need to complete the steering, the motor connections to the rear axle, the brakes. I showed them in another video. I think you can check that on my page. And yeah, pretty happy with that. Another air filter, air cleaner will be here, of course. Before I drive that thing, this muffler have to be changed somehow, because I don't want to be sitting here and that thing, you know, pushing its shit in my face, you know. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I'll keep you in touch. So have a nice day.
So as you have seen how I'm making my steering wheel right here, and now I took this as my steering rod. I drilled an 8mm hole here through, and then I took this nut, I just grinded the edges, and I'm putting here, as you can see, and I'm gonna weld it from both sides. And this will be my mount for the steering wheel. So alright, as you can see here we have our steering. Both wheels are connected together with this rod, and this is my steering for turbines. My steering gear is connected to this wheel, and yeah, I have a rod that is close to my steering wheel here. I don't know if you can see the camera. No, you can't. So yeah. Now, so here, as you can see, this is my handmade steering wheel that I showed already in the video. And you know, when I turn to the right, the wheels goes to the right. When I turn to the left, the wheels goes to the left. Yes, I still have to put the frame on the ground. I don't want to do that right now. Later will be to see when I'm sitting here if the steering wheel is set too high, or I have to make it lower, or still not. But this is my steering. Yeah. Okay, this way it is straight. I have full steering. I think I have to grind a little bit. No, I think it's okay. But I can grind a little bit the mount there, and then I can have another round. So this is already straight. And now, actually, it should be for the steering already, but I still have a little bit. Yeah, 1/4. So I have to work on the other one to make it 1/4 more. Yeah. So this is it, you know. I think this is enough for today. This will be my number 11 episode, the steering of the car. Yeah, as you see here, the engine mount is already welded there, the primary even, but they are still not screwed there because I have to work on my chain and stuff. I have to adjust everything in line before I do it. One thing else is that I turned this starter, how to call it. This one was here on the rear, so I turned it here. And I'm gonna make it longer, I think, and then it will be here to the grill. It will come to the grill here. So you can start the car by pulling it from front, like back in the days they have to crank it. So I have to pull it, yeah. But it will be a cool option. Yeah, as you can see, everything is okay till now. I hope that it works always the same way, that I don't have difficulties, that I can do something. Even the steering wheel I didn't show in the video, but I didn't need the form to make it circular stuff. I just bended it on here, on that thing here. Every time I bend a little bit, and then I made a circle on the wood panel here, where I'm gonna cut my wood for the steering wheel. I made the circles, and then I tried with a hammer just to adjust the circle out there. And I made it exactly circular form. Here. So just now I have to find the machine, CNC hand CNC machine, just to make the places here from both sides to fit it, and then I will cut it and try to grind it until it is nice and round. Yeah. As I said, this will be my video for today. Thanks very much for watching and supporting me. See you in the next video.
I have a neighbor. He is such a very nice guy. He asked me to help. He wanted to help me doing something on the hot rod, and he's delivering me the sheet of metal, and he told me he can even bring some rods and stuff and everything that I need. And he CNC'd those things here, or I don't know how he cut them. They are about 8 centimeters, I think, and 30 millimeter, 80 and 30 millimeter hole in the middle. And I was thinking that those are gonna sit here. They're gonna make my brake mount, let's say. And as you know, I have already 30 millimeter axle on the rear. Here I'm gonna show you that. It is a 20 millimeter, but here's the original axle, and then I passed the 25 millimeter 2.5 volt thick rod, and then a 30 millimeter here. I think you can see it. 2.5 thickness too. And I converted my axle to 30 millimeter for those bearings that I have here. Yeah. And I still have a choice. Is that I hope I still have that choice to be able to mount for this side, because the other side, it's okay, I can slide them out, and now I haven't welded them or anything, so I'm thinking if I'm gonna weld them or not. And yeah, I still have another 30 millimeter rod here, a little bit just, as you see here, I just slided it inside the hole, and I'm gonna cut it here later. I'm gonna make the same for this one. We cut the other half and put it here inside, and then, as you see here, it is very easy to get the middle point and trace for my holes here to hold the brake, and then this will be fitted in the axle somehow, somewhere, and it will be screwed to those brakes like this, you know. Yeah, and then I have to weld my caliper stuff, the brackets and mounts, yeah. This will be my braking system. As you know, I have the Piaggio 125cc scooter brakes, and even I bought this divider, or how to call it. It takes from one master cylinder and it gives two outputs. This is the front brake from Kawasaki. So as you see, I drilled 3 holes already. This rod's still not welded in the circle, so I'm just trying to adjust it, not you know, to make it really turning straight. I still have no idea, but I'm gonna check that. So the next thing I done is, as you can see here, I have 2 bolts already. So I'm cutting threads on the down on the brake mount that I'm building. So like this, I don't need nuts anymore, so I just have to screw my sucker's not going anywhere, you know. Yeah, just need to weld the inside rod from both sides to make it really one piece, and you know, later I think I'm gonna make holes here and maybe weld some nuts here and make screws to mount it, to fix it here on the axle, because I don't want to weld it on the axle. I want it to be removable. Still don't know.
gonna see that. Yeah. Let me surprise myself. Here is my brake mount. Here is my differential. And yeah, seems to be holding. Still have to weld it here, as I said, because now I have to mount the axle on the rear. So I have another one. I have to mount the other brake too first on the other side, and then the axle is gonna. I'm gonna show that in the video. Is gonna go on the car chassis here between the bearings, and I'm gonna turn it and see if this one is going straight or it is not straight, you know. And then I have to hammer it down and up, and and then tack weld it and weld it later, to make it really straight. I don't want it to be, making this snaky form while driving, and it will consume my brake shoes, or how to call them, plates, or how to call them, yeah. So I'm gonna work on the second one, and then they are gonna be here, mounted here on the frame, and I will check it later. And now one brake is mounted already, as you can see here. Alright. So we have one brake, caliper and disc here. Yeah. Once I brake here, where is it? Here. It stops. Yeah. So I made a widened bracket, not a bracket here, it's a tubing metal, and I bolted both holes here, threaded holes of the brake to it, and of course it will be cut here, and here I'm going to make such a strength bracket to the frame. Yeah. And from the other side I'm going to do the same. Here. Now on this side I have already my disc brake here, and I'm going to make the same system like the other one. Yeah. So thanks for watching this video. See you in the next video. And yeah, I hope I have some news, some good news. So as you can see here, as my brake system, this will be the pedal on the front here, somehow mounted. I don't know if you can see that here. This will be mounted here on the front somehow, and it goes to this divider here. I call it divider, and the device goes from one line and it goes to two other lines here. I already put so that air bubbles all out from the brake system. Here the axle turning. Once I brake here, yep. So here. That's till now I'm very happy with it. Yeah, this is my brake system, it's already up. Another thing is that I have to mount this one a bit higher than the brake calipers. Lucky, I think. So it has to be on the top or somehow a middle channel where the chain would be, the gear shifter. Yeah, and then this one I think has to be like this. Don't let that braking liquid or oil drain down or the rear. So sometimes maybe when you let it overnight and the next day come, or the oil has drained back in the lines and you don't find your brakes, so it will be, I don't know, I'm not sure if such a thing could happen, but or not, but I want to be careful. Yeah. So these are my brake lines. Today I went purchasing some stuff. This will be my clock. Some gauge that I already have. This is the speedometer. It's not so big. It's an 85. It's a 58 millimeter. I think this is a 56 millimeter, and the wheels are 52 millimeters. Yeah.
Those are my gauge. I have two of those. This is oil temperature, and they have the voltmeters too. This is global temperature. I still don't know where I'm gonna push it, and that needs no battery. It has no light even. This is the speedometer. Those lights blue, and these lights yellow or orange, or how to call it. So I'm still waiting for the tachometer. It will be bigger than this one, about over 60, I think, a bit bigger. And today I went to the used stuff market and I found this clock. You know, they are not be multicolored. Those are gonna be painted black, I think. So this black, and this is already black. This one I'm gonna check if I can screw it up, and I will paint it black too. If not, I will cover the glass and the rear one and I will paint it black. Yeah. Even if the tachometer will come in chrome, so I'm gonna paint it black. So already I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then maybe I will put the tachometer, then the speedometer, then this one here, temperature, because it is big enough. Then those both, and then the clock. Maybe I'm gonna put them other way. I still don't know. But this will be my dashboard. It's almost complete. I like this one. Screw up everything. It uses a very, very small battery here. I will have to do it. The way that I can take it off to change the battery or stuff, you know. Love it. I will take off the alarm even because of that. Yeah, this is my stuff now. And I was thinking about today is this one from an old German DDR Eastern motorcycle. I'm building my own blinkers. I will make a video for that. The turn signals, they are going to be from metal tubing, you know, and from bigger size to smaller size, and my LED purple board would be inside them. And I'm going to cut a middle circle here and make screws to make it. You know, it has already such a how to call it, rubber thing to protect it from water and stuff. I will use it for the front. Turn signals, the retro signals, I'm gonna try to push them to build them inside my rear lights. You know, they will be red, blinking. Yeah, I bought this one even for about €2. It is for I have already one from my toolbox, but you know, I found one and I bought it. I don't know if I'm gonna use this one or this one, because I never use it in my toolbox. I don't know. So maybe I will save one, because I need only one. I don't know if you can see that. So here's my steering wheel. When I'm sitting here, it is very high, so I have to cut it, I think, here or something, you know, and then put this one, and here will be the, how to call it, the bearing, you know, mounted to the dashboard on the front downside. So, you know, it will be just turning the steering in a normal way, but makes the steering wheel a bit lower till here now, because, you know, it's over my shoulders, even higher than my shoulders level. So yeah, this is my house and I'm working on it. It's going forward, but the problem is too cold here. Now I have -3 degrees Celsius, you know, it's fucking crazy cold here. So, and I have very high roof, so I can't make it warm with my little propane heater, my small propane heater. I need something, you know, here. Yeah, that's another story. Let's stay in the hot rod. Here we are. What I am right now doing is I am trying to connect the motor. You can see that the motor is mounted already, and in the video I'm going to show you how it works, how it runs on the chassis. And yeah, and here is my primary, the quad engine, and I'm trying to connect them together via chain. So here is my sprocket, and here's my crankshaft from the engine that became a primary. So yeah, the problem is here is on the engine directly there is a 25mm crankshaft, and on this clutch here that I have a 22 that works on those sprockets. But the problem is there is no other sprocket that is 25 for that, and I can't find a 25mm bearings for holding it like those both.
And yeah, so I found those 25mm. There is no 22mm bearings to make a 22mm. I was lucky, so I found a 22mm rod, a 25mm rod, also empty rod. This is a filled rod and this is an empty one with 1.5 wall thickness millimeter. So it means inside I have 22, the outside I have 25 that goes through those two bearings, and on the other side here, on the other side I have this rod that is actually from the old chopper bicycle that I built. It is left, it's a rod, I think it is 22 or 21.5 or something like that, because there is a little bit of play here in between, but it is not something that you can feel, you know. Yeah, so now I have this one fitting the crankshaft of the primary, and this one fitting inside the 25mm. It will be welded here, and the 22mm fits inside the 25 too, and the 25 fits into the bearings, and the 22 fits to the 22 here. It's a lot of bullshit, you know, but it worked somehow. Now I have to make lovely mounts with those two things, and yeah, it have to be running straight somehow, you know. Yeah, I have to find a solution for it, and then Shane is gonna connect those both here. Yeah, the problem is that I'm not sure if the 12 tooth teeth sprocket is enough to keep so much torque on the primary, or I have to go for such bigger, because this is 13 horsepower. I don't know how many RPM, and it goes through this oil clutch, and the clutch make it 2 to 1, yeah. And so let's say if I have 5,000 RPM here, I will have 2,500, I think, here, if I'm not wrong, because I'm not good at that mathematics. So then 12 teeth is gonna move this one, and the other one has 16 teeth here, and 16 teeth is gonna move at 54 teeth on 54 to 16, 12 to 12. I have no fucking idea how this is gonna work. Just I have to try it. That's a good point, is making a drivable chassis better than building a whole car and body and then something won't work and you have a problem. So I'm gonna try like this, and I'm gonna give myself time, if it is not gonna work, to adjust it, and then it is time to build the body and stuff, you know. Yeah. So as I said, these have to work somehow. Yeah. Somehow, I don't know, you know. Now let's see how the motor runs. I have the shock here. Yeah, this is how it starts. Turn on the key, ignition. I cannot actually connect here, I'm trying. Battery is not that filled, so. I have the differential is connected with Shane to the primary. The primary is connected via this crankshaft that I built, as you can see it, to the motor clutch, and the clutch is built on the motor. The problem is that I don't have enough torque and RPM to let that second clutch on the primary turn, you know, that's the problem. So one of both. I have to find a way how to block this clutch here to make it turn directly, or to remove this one. But the problem is that I don't find a 25mm sprocket like this. So I'm gonna just run the engine and show how it works. Okay, right now the engine is on. When I give gas, the train turns because I have one wheel is lifted out there, as you see. But once I put both wheels on the ground, that won't move anymore. That's the problem I have now. And as I said, I'm gonna find an idea with plugging one clutch here or removing the other one. So see you later. Oh yeah, as already said, 2 clutches seems to be too much for such a small car, and the RPM from the engine through that clutch here is not enough to turn the other clutch. So I have to find another solution, as I said. For me, it's better to remove this clutch on the front, but it is not easy at all, because I can't find a sprocket with 25mm hole, and I can't find any damn lathe machine to make my own, or to modify mine. So the only solution that I already have now is to remove this clutch, to find a way how to block it, to make it turn directly. So then, I'm very interested to see that. There has been really a long time that I haven't done any progress on the hot rod go-kart that I'm building. The problem that I have, I was sick, I have a new new job, and I can't make any progress. Is because of the primary here that I have, the quad engine that I turned to primary. So I rebuilt everything, I made it work, and in one time I put oil inside, I tried to drive, but it don't go forward. Sometimes it goes reverse, but forward there were no chance, I built those pedals, the gas pedal and the brake pedal. Brake pedal was a bit complicated, but I got it the way I wanted. As you see here, they are circular. It's everything built by myself, I got tubing and I made such a sheet of metal on top of it, and I welded everything. Both of them are handmade by me. Yeah, as you see here, I removed the oil bath clutch and made this system here with tubings, as you know, here 30, 25, 22 and stuff, and the rear I talked about that already in an earlier video. So the chain is straight, as you can see here, and actually everything is okay, but the problem is when I put oil inside the primary, as it should be, it don't work. When I remove the oil, it works, the car runs and no problem. Yeah. And that's what's driving me crazy. So now I'm driving it without oil because I don't give a fuck anymore. I just wanted to drive, even if it breaks. So I have just a little bit of oil. I put inside just a little bit, about another, so a cup like this and a half or something, not even a half liter or something, yeah. And it runs with that, Yeah, the problem is this problem is that what stopped me
making any progress there. I wanted already to start building the firewall and everything here, the console and everything, and trying and starting making my framework, my body framework, you know, because there will be a frame and the body will be built around it. I already started buying such stuff here and metal, but that damned primary has stopped me from doing anything, you know. Yeah, and today I drove the car. It was a bit much noisy, and it wasn't so fast in the end. I don't know, maybe there is problem here. I still don't know. Yeah, so yeah, that was it. So let's call this another part of the build. I didn't do so much as I said last video, and now I'm building the body work. So I'm making a frame to hold the body, and as you can see here is the firewall support. Firewall is gonna be here, and here another part of the body, and this frame I'm building, it's gonna be, I thought in the beginning to weld it, but to screw it, but later I said there must be a part that holds forever out there. So those are gonna be welded to the frame. They are already tack welded, and then I'm gonna really weld them there, and they're gonna be not removable at all. The firewall, of course, will be here in the front, and once you see it here, this is where the dashboard is gonna sit, and the steering wheel is gonna be lowered more here. I think till here, you know, something like this. Here when you sit, have your pedals, brake and gas, and here is gonna be a door, suicide door, as you call it in America. I don't know how to call it somewhere else. Doors that opens to the rear here. It will be till here near the wheels. So yeah, the tail is gonna be roadster style. Yeah, as you can see, it's really straight right now. I'm very happy with that work I'm doing. Look here, and yeah, the first body panels are gonna come around these, and yeah, maybe later the chain cover. Maybe the tail, still don't know. This is just a mock-up for my grill. It's not gonna, I'm still not sure how it's gonna look like. But just I put this one here to make it look like something. No. It's not gonna stay right. It's just kind of food. And yeah. The wheels are finished. I'm kind of finished. You know, maybe I'm gonna add something, or they will finish like this. I don't know. Go from front. It's not gonna be easy to fit the sheet of metal body panels on that. It's gonna be a kind of challenge. I don't have those body work tools except those hammers, and maybe a sandbag I can finish it. So, but I have no idea. I don't want to go into those hammers. Alright, as you can see, I'm making the first panel. Tack welded here on the rear, and I'm working on the corners. As you know, I have only hand tools, you know, no power tools, nothing. I don't have time. If you don't have time, actually you need power tools, but I have no power tools and I have no time. And it is taking shape. And as I said, this part is going to be welded. Everything is going to be welded and fixed forever here, so there is no need to remove it, and you know, and I'm going to paint it from the inside and outside, everything, you know. gonna make the rest here and then pass them together and re-hammer them to make one line, one smooth surface, as smooth as I can, you know. Yep. So now I am fitting the side panel here before I tack welded it, and yeah, I have a mistake by cutting here, and that sucks, but I'm gonna find a way how to weld it here. It's very easy. Actually, no, maybe something like this. No, we'll find a way, and I'm just hammering it from the outside and pushing it back here from the inside. So here is with the firewall. I'm still not sure, but it's gonna be my firewall. So here's the opening for the brake pedal. Here is for the gas pedal, because the gas pedal wants to give gas here. Throttle or gas. So your foot is gonna touch here, so I had to make it bigger. The opening out there, but they're gonna be closed somehow, you know, till the end. Yeah. So I'm surprised with what I done until now, because when you look here, you don't see big thing, you know. I'm sure because after painting the car, all mistakes and defaults will show up, you know, once. But you know, I can't see any big difference between the left and the right sides. So let's hope it goes the way I want it. Yeah. So this will be my firewall. It's 2mm thick metal sheet. It was already used somehow, in some way. So I'm gonna restore it, and I have two of them. One is staying there, and I'm gonna use it as my firewall. I wanted to use a 1mm, but I'm buying the 1mm, and I will need more for the hood, for the grill, and for the rear end. So let's save more 1mm panels and use the 2mm already used ones. Yeah, how it looks from the rear. So now starts looking like something. I don't want to say looking like a car, but like something. Now, if I knew that I'm gonna build something like this, I would have put a real car engine in it. But yeah, who cares? I mean it because I have these problems with the primary. I still don't know if it's gonna be running the way I want and reach at least 35 or 40 miles an hour. Let's say 60 kilometers an hour. Still don't know. But you know, I hope it works. Because the last time I did the test drive of the chassis, I heard such a I don't know how to describe it. Such a noise coming from the panels here. It was too loud when I give gas only, so there's something is not in the right way, you know. But you know, let's build it first, and then I'm gonna repair everything. Yo, see you next time. Alright, so I tack welded the firewall out there, as you can see. And I made this opening as I showed in the last video for the gas pedal and brake pedal space. The opening for the chain, because the car is chain driven for those who still haven't seen my other videos. Now just tack welded the firewall on the upper side of that frame, and even those sides here, as you can see, have two tack welds here or there. I made a hole here for the steering rod. Of course, the steering rod is gonna be cut, I think, here. And this one will be fit in here. It fits already. It's made here, as you can see, thinner here just to fit exactly here. And then here I'm gonna make that articulation thing here. This one. Yeah, it's gonna be here. And I already mounted the bearing. Actually, the bearing has a 20mm hole and the rod is 20mm, but it don't fit. I just grinded this like crazy on the inside, and then I had to hit it with a hammer. You know, that was pain in the ass. So I just mounted it here right now with such weldings. Another rod is gonna, or a bracket is gonna be mounted here. Yeah. And you're gonna see the steering wheel is gonna, as you know here, I showed that already in my steering wheel building video, how I made this one. I welded that nut inside the rod. Yeah. And this is how the steering wheel is gonna be. Yep. And as you can see, the steering works right now. I'm very happy with that. Well, yeah, I drove that thing from the outside through all those doors until here without any help or pushing to the rear reverse or something. It was always forward and the steering was perfect, you know. I'm very happy with that. So I still have to bring my camera right here, my real camera camcorder and a little tripod that I can put it somewhere and show you how I drive the thing. I'm pretty impressed and pretty happy and pretty, you know, I can't describe all that, yeah, how the thing works. Yeah, the only problem I have now is that I discovered that, let me go downside, I made a chain tensioner, or how to call it. It's DIY thing that didn't work, but it's fixable, I think. Yeah, here's my thing. Okay. When the chain is sitting here, it stops, you know, it makes a lot of noise, you know. The chain is just, you know, touching here only those teeth and it's not working, but so I moved it to the side and it works. So all what I have to do now is getting this thing in gear again, you know. I have to grease it, or I don't know, I have to look what is wrong, why it is not working. Yeah, now I have to go home. My wife is making nice dinner and see you next time. Thanks for watching and support and everything. This is my 16th part of my hot rod car building with 400cc or 390cc engine, Predator engine and chain drive and a quad modified motor 2E primary, you know. I made the gearbox from quad motor to get my reverse and forward here. And bicycle front suspension, handmade wheels that I hope they hold. It seems to be holding, but I don't know. I'll have to check that later. Pretty happy. The next step would be making the rear tail of the body. My problem is how I'm gonna work on the corners to make them round. I don't want them to look like a box or chest. I have to comment here. Yeah. Really happy with what I did right now. And I love my steering, I love everything. There is a little bit of play here. So, but this is not the problem of my system. Let me check this out. The problem is here in the gear. In the steering gear, no? Should I get that out? Maybe later. And yeah, really happy.
As you know, making the rear side of the body of any car body with those curves and stuff, so it's a big challenge for every DIY maker. And I have searched on Google, and God bless Google, I found such very nice work made from some guys, so I just downloaded such pictures. I don't want to say stole them because I use them for myself. And here it is. I printed that. As you can see here, this part, the front part of the body frame, as you know, in my hot rod I built it welded to the frame, to the car chassis, you know. So I made those others a bit differently. This one is a T-bucket, so I made this one. And now I am working on curving that metal here. And you know, this is the part I made in the beginning. And now later I made those L-shaped corner brackets, or how to call them. Two of them welded to each other, and I made them here. I wanted to strengthen them here, but they seem to be really hard enough. They are screwed to the frame. I welded screws to the frame, and I made holes in the brackets, so you just screw them from the top. And then I made this body, this rear bracket here, welded to them. It was too much shaky, but now, as you can see here, once I stopped building the panels and welding them, it got more and more stable, so it was very shaky. Let's go from another angle. Here. So as you can see, I welded another smaller bracket to the bottom, curvy, and another one from the back here, one from the side, and the upper one here from the horizontal bracket. There we go. And they meet in the end here. This one that I built myself, and I'll show that. I have made another bracket on the rear that everything goes welded on it, and here that bracket has those screws, and it gets screws to those other holders here I made, and they are welded to the frame. I welded this side, the rear side, a bit curvy here to the rear, and then I made those kind of skeleton brackets here everywhere. And I am shaping the panels here to be circular. It's not easy at all, especially with the hand tools I'm using. I don't use a bodywork panels. Forget about this, plastic magnet is something you can buy in a souvenir shop. Just make pictures for my Facebook and Instagram and stuff, you know. The lights are gonna be mounted here, and
here I'm working on both panels, and then I have to weld the outside. It's still not welded, and now make the other side panel. So I'm learning from the mistakes I made here, just to try to avoid that on the other side. So that's why I didn't weld the other side already. I didn't make everything I had here. So I think this here will be the trunk. I'm gonna make another brackets here. Trunk is not gonna be here. Still don't know, maybe it's gonna be too large to here, too wide. Maybe here I'm gonna make another kind of brackets. You know, still don't know exactly what I'm doing, because I think those ones aren't the same wide from the up and the bottom, so from the top and the bottom. So maybe the trunk will be not so straight, so maybe I have to make such others. I don't know, I will look later about that. And here of course will be the hardest part. I'm going to try to make one here, and then to make the other one here. And a lot of frames, a lot of fitting them. Yeah, until it looks like one piece. Now don't forget I'm going to make those edge, or how to call them, those forms here and upper, so make it look like a 30s style form, you know. Yeah. And yeah, as you can see, this is till now what I'm working on the body. For this video it will be only that. I'm not gonna show any more episodes about how I'm making the rear, maybe trunk, cover, door, but no, here this one will be covered too. Later I'm not gonna show any episodes about doing that. The next episode will be about this part finished and the doors, working on the doors. I'm gonna talk, I made this one, and here how I'm gonna make the doors. These two side of the doors. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this episode too, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And if you have any suggestions, please, I'll be happy to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching and supporting by sharing and liking and commenting on my videos. I hope everything was as fun as I want, and see you next time.
Alright, so I started with this side. I made those myself, because it was very expensive in the hardware store. There was some such cool ones with chrome and stuff, but it was expensive. So now I welded the rest of the door frame. They're all flat brackets, all bottom and both sides 3 unit 1. On the upper side I used the same corner bracket here, shaped bracket, metal like I used here and everywhere, thin ones, make it easier to weld it to the panel here, because it's 1 mm, so 1 to 1 is the same heat I need on my welder, and for those sides have to be harder to make the door more stable. So this way the door is not 100% stable, but it is moving a little bit here. Maybe this is made for I can make such a I can make the rod inside thicker or something. But it opens and I still have to make a stopper here to go all the way inside. Stop it here, and you see here it's the same, something like the same shape. I have to still have to grind here, and yeah. So now I have to make I think a middle one or something. I don't want to make it such a heavy door, so yeah. I have at least one door frame here. I'm a very proud owner of a door frame, car door frame. Yeah, I really like it. Really like it. Here is how I'm making my door closing and opening system, the door grip. So I welded this square tube on the door frame a bit, and I made a hole in it. It's about 10 mm, and I put this rod inside it. And then I made this one. It's a bit hot. So I made the hole first, I put this one, I passed it, it works, I welded this one. And when it is this position, the door won't open. And when you lift it to the top, like this, so you can open the door. And here, I made this little hole, and I have this box full of fuses, of springs. So I'm gonna look for a hard enough spring here that I'm gonna mount between this hole and the upper side here, and this will hold it approximately like this. So once you open the door, it will open like this, and when you leave, when you let go, it turns back this position, must turn back this position. That's what yeah. And here I'm gonna weld a threaded screw or something where I can mount my grip.
So as I said in the beginning, here's one door already made. Those actually have such problems like here and here, it's not the same, and sometimes you can just close it the way you want. So of course I'm gonna weld some stoppers here to stop it from going all the way inside, but yeah.
So I took the measures and stuff, and then I cut it about. So this is a 43 centimeters, 55 centimeters. I don't need all of that, so I made 4 centimeters more on each side. That will be bended. I'm gonna try to make it a bit curvy on the top. So first thing, I'm gonna cut a hole inside it. So I have to leave 4 centimeters. Then I make another jaw for the front face of the grill. Then, I will cut the inside. And then I will weld such mounts on the chassis, car chassis, to make it screwable on the chassis. So it can be welded, of course. So I draw it this way. I hope it is visible enough on the camera. So I took 4 centimeters from each side here, and then I made it a bit curvy here. I just took the dashboard, I put it here and tried to make it curvy. So this one, the top of the grill will be curvy if I get it. So I'm gonna do the same thing with I did with the dashboard. So I'm gonna cut here many cuts and try to hammer at each one and then grind it together after welding and stuff. I'll explain that again. So I cut already everything. So I cut the corners because when this one bends and this one bends, they will meet here. And then again I got the weld here and here and here and here. So I still don't know if I made those one right, correctly. But it's not a problem. Otherwise if it's on the top it will be visible, but I have to fill it then if it is wrong. I think I had to cut it to right angle here. So now I bended already the bottom, one side here, there's still the other side, and the top, and I bended those even as I showed you. So I ended up cutting a lot here, and I will have I had already a lot of, not a lot, but many welding points here and stuff to make it fit together. But I had my friend here, the neighbor, he came out and he told me that I could save all that time and welding and grinding work, because he showed me how I can paint everything, without using all what I did. But, it is my way how to do it. But I like already how it looks like. It looks very straight and nice. I hope it works the way I want. So I still have to paint those and then grind it, and then I will show you the final work. So right, that thing is already fitted. Now I made it this way. You see it is curvy. Here you've seen already how I done it. I welded it here. You can see the welding is here from the inside. Now I welded all those together on the corners. Give those here from the inside, And then I grinded a little bit. It wasn't a lot of grinding, Those edges could be better, and I will make them better, but later. This is a finishing work, as I say. Now I'm working on painting, things and fabricating, and then later I will make the finishing. So I'll try to make it here a little bit curvier. I don't know if you can see it here in the camera. Here, like this one. And then I'm gonna make the greater sided. Let's see how it will work. But let's hold it in the car. As I told you, I am very bad in geometry and stuff, and I didn't really check the other designs or the original one correctly to build mine, so I didn't like something, First of all, something that is not easy to change. I didn't like the way how slim it is. I really love to have it wider, but, let's keep it this way. Another mistake that I did is the boxy edges on the top here, or the corners. Actually, it has to be curve here and here. And this one I'm gonna fix. I'm gonna fix it right now. I'm gonna just cut it here and I don't know, weld another panel here, or maybe straight this one if I get it straight here and curve it. Let's see how I can fix it. So I'm gonna make it curvy here, as I said, and about making it wider, it is not easy. I have to cut here and here, and you know, it's a lot of work. I will need another big fork. So now, this is my finished grill frame, and later I'm going to make such rods here in the inside, on the vertical side way here. I don't know how it will look like. Actually, the grill frame will be painted, I think, with the same color like the car body, and the grill will be black. Still don't know, but this is what I have in mind right now. And yeah, what can I say? Thanks for watching for this 20th episode of the DIY cycle car or go-kart or car hot rod building. And that was the grill. Let's see what I can do next. See you next time. Thanks. So as this video shows, we took a differential from Mercedes-Benz 190 and so it's actually a whole rear axle, you know, including the mount of it, you know, and everything here. And I removed the brakes and I drilled them through exactly the same way those holes are to mount them to the differential, so that they are not springing or moving anymore when the wheel here springs, and they will stay fixed in the same area. So I cut from the mount of that differential that I showed you right there. I cut the back of it, where the 4 screws on the rear here comes, as you see, and this one will be welded here somehow, because those both are not the same distance, because they were fitted for the old chain-driven axle, not for this one. Here are the brake calipers. They are going to be mounted somehow to the frame. I have those wheel knobs, or how to call them, yeah, they fit here. And I think I'm going to weld them out there. The only problem I have is that if once I have to change these bearings, I have to change the whole thing here. And it's not so easy to get one, and even if you get one, you have to grind it out. There will be a lot of work, but who cares? You know, this car is not gonna run on the roads and hundreds of miles or kilometers. It's just made for such events and stuff. You know, it's more a show car, cycle car, DIY. Call it whatever you want. You know. Yeah, and this way I removed, and I don't need any more this chain-driven axle I made.
it's actually very sad because I loved it and I worked a lot on it, and I was looking like a crazy for that differential here and fitting the chain, and there was everything, a lot of money, I had to pay. The brakes I fitted out there, and the wheels that I welded myself and made myself here, as you see. That's pretty sad. I'm going for such bigger wheels because the height of these wheels from the ground is less than the front wheels, and that it looks a little bit bizarre, I wanted to make them a bit higher than the front ones. It's a hot rod in the end, Yeah. The front lights are gonna be changed, not those yellows anymore. I'm gonna put some bigger ones, 18 centimeters, 7-inch I think or something. Those ones are too small. I made another grill. The first one I built, I know where it lies here. Didn't like it, it's too small, and so I made another one. I found this net here. I cut it in half and I put it in it. I like it. The turn signals, I made already a video on how I made them. I built them myself, but I have problems in my computer, so I got another computer. I still have no editing program on it, so to make everything. I'm gonna keep the motor. I wanted to go for a Ford Fiesta 1.1 liter carbureted motor with the Mercedes-Benz 190 automatic transmission, but it won't work, Somehow some professional guys and mechanics here and stuff, they told me forget about it. The motor is not gonna change gears with that primary or transmission, and even worse, it will be the air pressure that this transmission needs will not be, So I could go with a Mercedes 2-liter engine from that area, but the chassis, the front axle, everything is not made to carry such a big, huge motor. So I prefer to go smaller. But now I'm gonna use a lawnmower transmission, 3 gears, forward, neutral, and 1 reverse. Still waiting. I purchased on eBay, still waiting that it comes. I think I saw some go-karts made with that thing, especially here in Germany, because you don't have that torque converter. You have to buy it from America, and who knows if they will send it to you, So, or if you're gonna receive it, or if you have to pay taxes on it here, and it's a long story. So with that, that's why we go mostly for such gearboxes and stuff, or that delivered with a motor that here, as you can see it, that clutch, but it's 1-2 or 2-1, so I didn't want it, and it makes it too wide, the motor, and it has that clutch inside it, and it sucks anyway. You have to change it every 1 or 2 years, so especially with such a heavy thing here, with how I'm building, it's not gonna work for me. So this way, even I'm gonna sell it one day, there will be no chain from the front to the rear, rattling somehow, and another chain here. It's not gonna work that way, Yeah, I'm gonna keep it easy and simple. I'm gonna make such kind of wishbones on the rear here to, mount the rear axle. The differential will be mounted to the frame. The other ones, I'm gonna make for sure such rubber stuff to avoid deep vibrations, and those bearings are gonna be mounted to the kind of wishbones, I know how to call them, that goes to the rear here, and yeah, that will be my rear axle with suspension. I bought already other bicycle suspension. They are lying out there on the bicycle wheel, but I don't know, maybe I'm gonna go for such bigger and more flexible ones, because those ones are pretty hard, I don't know for the rear if I'm gonna use them or not. I have no idea, still thinking about that. still haven't made a 100% plan, but those ones I'm not gonna cut them because they are really welded, TIG welded, you know, out there, so it's not gonna be easy to, you know, cut them. And if I cut them, I will make my frame for sure thinner, or how to call it, you know. Yeah, so I have to avoid that. And as I said, I need my ratrodspain frames right now to fit on those, or maybe I can get some other ones that fits on that axle and goes to 15-inch wheels or something like that. I think those ones are 15-inch too, or 16-inch, but the real ones with more rubber on them, it will be nicer, you know. I don't want them to be too much fat tires, you know, here, but they have to be more and I think 150 or 160 maximum, you know, or more. Yeah, the clutch here between the motor and the transmission will be handmade with belt, and you know, when you push the pedal, such heavy springs will be here to you know, there are some guys on YouTube that made that, and I found it a good idea, you know. 3 wheels, one goes to the crank of the motor, one goes to the crank of the transmission, and between them how to call it, belt will be not so fitted so tight, and another third wheel controlled with that spring to push it together. And once you push the clutch on the left foot, for those especially in America who don't know, the clutch is on the left, the pedal that goes to the left foot. When you push it, you release the pressure on that belt, and you know, almost all good guys that watch such kind of videos, they know the clutch and stuff. I'm sorry for that, you know, but you know what I mean. Yeah, and this way I can keep my transmission, my steering rod that I here built already. Yeah, I don't have to lay it other way, because with I tried to film, to shoot videos on how I went through all the details, but every time it changes and stuff, you know, before even I upload the video or edit it. So I didn't do it. I said, let me make it to the end, and then I take the last decision, and then I will upload it. As I said, the problem I had was always the speed. So it runs, everything was okay with that chain and that handmade quad engine converted to transmission, but the problem is that the thing, it didn't pass 32 kilometers an hour per hour. It's pretty slow, you know. It's fast speed of a bicycle. When a bicycle goes fast with 28-inch wheels, they can easily break 32-35 kilometers an hour, so, or even faster than 50. But I wanted it to go to a speed, a cruising speed here in Germany, 50 kilometers an hour. And what made me nervous more and crazy, drive me crazy is that when you push the gas more, I drove it on the street here on the outside, when you push the gas to the 32 kilometers an hour, and then you push more gas, the engine goes faster, the RPM goes much higher, but the transmission or something was wrong with those, I don't know, chain stuff, or it didn't go faster. You hear the engine louder, goes much more RPM, but the car stays on 32 kilometers an hour. And that bothered me, you know. I wanted to make it faster, till 50 or 60 kilometers, like normal cycle cars, what the guys drive and race out there in America and everywhere else in the world. So yeah, the cross members here are gonna be changed, of course. Maybe, I don't know, because the motor is gonna stay here or had to turn to the other way. Still don't know how the new transmission I bought works. If it will be here mounted here or somehow I don't know. And yeah, there will be crankshaft here to the end. Yeah, like a real car somehow, but I want to try to keep it as much as possible like a cycle cart, you know. Yeah, other lights, as I said, they are much bigger out there, lying out there. Whoops. And yeah, but they will light in yellow, you know. I'm gonna make a yellow cover for the LED bulbs inside. Yeah. So thanks for watching again, and I will be pretty happy for your feedbacks and support. And when I say support, I don't mean money support. You don't have to give me money, but I mean supporting me morally with thumb up and sharing my video and stuff. That's what is important. I will never use this option of please support me financially and stuff. You know, I don't mean that. Thanks very much for your support again, and and see you next video. So this project is gonna keep the actual first concept I designed it for in the beginning, as I said and explained a little bit in the last video. So it will keep the Predator motor, it will have a lawnmower primary, so it will be normal go-kart, cycle cart, car, call it whatever you want, a hot cart. Yeah, it's nice, hot cart, because it's not the pre-war cycle carts, but it is such a kind of Model A replica or stuff. You know, not one for one, but it's such a kind of that. And it's a go-kart, so let me call it hot cart. Yeah, so let's get used to that. So as I said, on the rear I'm gonna use the Mercedes-Benz, how to call it, differential and suspension I got from a Seat something here, I don't know which one was that, and it will be with suspension, you know. The front will stay the same, and the question I'm talking about in this episode is about the engine mount. As you know, I was mounting my engine here. This mount, well, the bed here is pretty hard, and transmission I made from a quad ATV engine was mounted on rear. So in this episode here, I'm gonna explain how I'm gonna update that. So I will be having problems, I think, in the steering gear here, where to mount it, how to, yeah, I don't know, still have an idea. And as I said, this time I'm gonna use another transmission, and I'm gonna explain that here right now. It will be a bit hard to make it. So, I mean, between the engine and the transmission will be that kind of belt-driven clutch, you know, where two, as I said in the last video, two belt wheels and a pulley that make tension and release the tension using the clutch pedal, and a hard spring that, you know, makes the tension on the car, on the transmission. And that will be a bit complicated, as I'm going to show you right there. So, as I said, if I'm going to mount the engine to the chassis and the transmission to the chassis, and another mount comes from the chassis to make the pulley moves that drives the belt, and another mount for because I'm going to have a crankshaft here to the end from here. But I need two bearings here mounted, so everything is going to be mounted to the frame. It will be a big pain in the ass. So I thought about this idea. Let me explain that. So as you see here, what I am building right now, what I'm planning or designing, is building a power plant that I can put inside the cart or take it off like an engine. So normal car engines, you have the transmission is built to get with bolt here mounted on the motor, for example. In this case we can't, because we have another kind of motor, another kind of transmission, and no clutch that works between them, or even if I can get an idea how to mount a clutch between them, So it will be too wide for the chassis I have here. I'm not looking so cool as it should be. So because of that, I want to build a frame or a cage, or call it whatever you want, where I'm gonna mount. Let me turn the screen here to see what I'm saying and what I'm touching. So it will be a mount for the engine with all the rods that goes this way, and the transmission will be mounted out there in this position, where here the transmission will be driven by the engine. So in this case, let's say this is the car, and the engine have to turn to the reverse, to the other direction. So that's why I turned the engine. And the other mount I already welded there is not going to work anymore. So in this case, because, you know, when the engine turns this way, it will turn the transmission even this way. And once you change the gears, look at the bed position now. This is all wide of the engine, and the transmission has to be here, not even closer, because of the belt here and clutch system. And the changing, the place where you change the gears is even outside, not even here or on the top, it is here. And in this way, I will have my output of the transmission. Let me turn the camera a bit this way. It will be on the side, not in the middle. So that's why I need a chain, or, you know, a chain or a belt, and those two bearings here, stand bearings called in Germany here. Between them will be the other sprocket, driven through a chain, and the crankshaft will go to the rear wheels, the rear axle or the rear differential. Yeah. Here will be such a thing, and on the rear axle will be another one, and between them a crank or a rod that will, massive rod that will hold everything together. Of course, the tank can be removed. I'm gonna make another air cleaner here. I have one already. It's too small. I wanted to use a Kawasaki BN801. It is such bigger, but I still don't know. I will check for that later. It's not my priority right now. This sucker here is gonna go somehow. It's not this way to avoid that air coming from the front to transfer that heat to the engine cylinder, so I have to make it somehow. The engine will be smaller. I'm gonna turn this pull thing here to the other side that you can pull it from as it originally came, because it turned it another way, the other way to the other side to make it start from the front. I have an electric starter, so it's another thing. This one is gonna disassembled and built on the dashboard in front, and yeah, from this one maybe, I don't know, or the other one will be my oil temperature sensor. No, from the other one I think, yeah. This is the filling thing. And the RPM sensor cable will be mounted somehow on that. Yeah, you know what I mean. And yeah, this is my actual idea. So building that unity or something, how to call it, as a power plant. So you can take it off, put it inside the car, and between, of course, between the engine and the cage I'm gonna build, there will be those anti-vibration things, and between the cage itself or frame itself and the car frame chassis will be all the same thing, you know, to avoid as much as possible the vibrations provided by the engine. I'm really hopeful that it will work this time. The only problem I still have is I don't know which sprocket or wheel, or how to call it here for the things, will have to be bigger. I think I'm gonna use a bigger one on the engine and a smaller one here on the transmission. And then I'm gonna keep the 8mm here, the 8 teeth sprocket, and I'm gonna make a bigger one. So big or small, So this way the transmission turns more heavy. I don't know how to get here my handbrake, as I said, my emergency brake. We pull it from here and stuff. So right, I'm gonna show you now how I'm trying to build my own blinkers. Here I took two tubes, a 32mm, 1.5 or something thickness, and another one that fits inside it, precision tube. It is 30mm, something like this. And as you see, I fit them inside each other. I tack welded them here, as you can see that. I welded them with that welder without gas. Here's the one, the MIG, mag on here is the one. Same system but without gas, without argon or taken gas. So that's why you see a lot of brown dirt and stuff like that. So then I took those old blinkers covers and I made this way. Just hit it, cut them with heat, and then pull them out. Yo. Let's see. And then I took this file and I filed them until I got this guy. Is better than how it looks here. So then I'm gonna fit this one here, but the other way looks different, something mine, looks cool too. And this way, so you can't hide those cutting mistakes and scratches. Like this way, it looks nicer. Anyway, I'm gonna find a way if I'm gonna glue it or make it removable, still don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna have LED bulbs inside it. So yeah, maybe I have to make them longer here. Another tube. I'm gonna check for that. Yeah, as you can see, so it doesn't matter if they doesn't matter. I don't have to change the bulbs, you know, so it doesn't matter if they are removable or not, but I will find a way. In the end, I ended up adding 2 more tubes, and I welded everything from the inside here, as you can see, yeah. And the light, the bulb would be, the LED bulb would be fitted inside such a rubber ring or something that goes here inside, and then once you need to change it, or you need to clean something, or you need anything from it, you just can pull it out, you know. I will try to make it fit snug, you know, not to allow it to fall down or stuff from the car vibration and stuff. And it's not gonna stay like this, of course, so I grinded it to make it look as close as possible to such a form. Yeah, and the filler will be covering many things there later. And once we add one of those here, guys, yeah, we have such kind of blinker. So now we have to make such a grip or foot, or what to call it, leg or mounting point to it. Yeah, that's what I still have to add. And yeah, let's see. Alright, I ended up making like this. Maybe later I'm gonna make another coat of paint on it. but still not sure. I don't have a problem with those lines, you know, but who knows, yeah? And I welded such a holders like this that are gonna fit on the car. I'm gonna show you that. So here's the I-beam axle and here's the wishbone. And the screw that mounts the wishbone that holds this in place is gonna be having this one here. Go. And about the bulbs, I made them such a rubber mount that is gonna fitting here. I'm gonna fit it here. It fits already. I tried it without paint. Now I will have a little bit of pain in the ass to get it inside. And these ones are gonna get glued, but not with super glue or something. I'm gonna use the resin. It's better for me. So now I mix the resin with its components, required components, and all what I'm gonna do. So the difficult part here is I'm gonna work with one hand only and hold the camera with the other hand. So put them this way to the side. See? And let the rest here. Alright. Let it dry. So as you see here, it fits really snug, you know, so no worries about sealing or stuff. And the rest of the resin that I had, I used a bit of it to seal the cable here, so it's really sealed. It's supposed to be really sealed. So I'm using the screwdriver here to fit it better inside, to push it inside. And as you see, and let's go to the other one that is finished already. Yeah. This is how they look like, guys. Something different, something I made myself. Yeah. And about my DIY turn signals, why I use already LEDs, because it's not breakable, as we know, and not easy to burn. And for another reason is to save myself a lot of work with those relays and cables and stuff, you know. So I purchased on eBay such a DIY turn signal, not turn signal, it's made for blinker. So it blinks one LED or 2 or 3 or who cares, 1.2 watts, you know, one LED here and one resistor here that blinks once, gives big power to the LED and once to the resistor. So if you make 1.2 watt LED here too, so we'll have them blinking against each other. So you can make this wall to monitor your blinker on the dashboard, but I didn't go for that. Both blinkers, so the front and the rear one. The rear ones are the same bulbs that are gonna go inside those holders I made. The both, and I cut them on the rear, so you're gonna have the run light, the stop light, and the blinker inside, turn signal. Those are my rear lights, and the front ones. So I tried it already with 2 of them mounted in parallel, and plus 1.2 LED, little green LED light that goes to the dashboard. It's a dashboard light, and it works without any problem. So this part here is a DIY, so you have to solder it yourself and stuff. It cost me $3, €3, so about $3.50, $4. It's really nice, and you can change frequency here between 1 blink at a second and 3 times at a second. So it's really nice. It's variable and very nice. So I'm gonna have my 12 volt here, and from this one it goes to the blinks on off a button that I'm building myself that will show in another video. And you know, it goes from it to the right or the left. It will work like a regular car, you know, but something DIY, 100% DIY, as you see here. So Thanks for watching. I'm going to show you in the end of the video how it
For those who followed from the beginning how the chassis was made, and already I built the body around the chassis, so I made mounts and stuff. But now, while I am installing the new rear axle with suspension system, I discovered that the chassis will stay in the way of those guys here when they are going up and down. So I needed at least 6 to 7 to 8 centimeters a distance, travel distance here. So let me show you that. Okay, those are the Mercedes rims I got. Still waiting for the tires. They look nice for a hot rod. Alright, so I already started here cutting the chassis from the top, of course through on both sides. Then I built those bridges from the same metal here, tubing, and I tack welded it here and here with TIG, and then from here and here on the other side. It's not so important to see, but there are some tags out there. So now the chassis will stay the same when I cut this part. And that's why I cut it from here already, because when I cut through, and I have these already mounted to keep the chassis the same distance and the same everything, so I don't have to change nothing. I have already cut those, and then I have only to cut from the downside. Otherwise I need a pretty nice big cutter that I don't own here to cut it till here without damaging that, or I have to cut the chassis and then weld those, and then I have to match it and put the body on it, and it will be very much pain in the ass to make it work 100% as it was. So this is, I think, the best way to do it. And on the top of that there will be this kind of cross member here. Let's imagine that it sits here. It is rounded, and this is where the suspension and everything is going to be attached to, maybe even the brake calipers and stuff, mounts and stuff, This is how I am modifying my rear end of the frame to fit the new axle with car differential. Actually, the hot rod axles, rear axles are a bit different. They are rigid, so they don't move, and of course the brakes are here on the end. But such an old axle like Opel Record or Ford axle, it is not into my budget, and I am not really building a real street legal car to try to afford that. So that's why it's better for me to stay small. I found this as a nice action by a friend, and I almost paid nothing. I don't want to say nothing, but I bought many things, many parts, and I paid one amount of money, and it's a good money. So very less money, I want to say. Here another view of the engine. I didn't want to show it in this video, but this is how it's supposed to look like. The engine mount, still need from the same kind of those curvy brackets. I have another longer one there, lying there. I'm gonna make them out so that they're gonna be mounted to those here with screws and rubber. And this is the chain. I had a hard time finding a sprocket that fits on this primary here. I mean, I'm in Germany here. Maybe in the United States they have more possibilities here. I didn't found that works on this chain. There are the 428 go-kart, thought for go-karts, chains and sprockets, but I didn't find anyone that fits on this end here, and I didn't find anyone that is the same size, and I don't know which kind of sprocket is one on the peerless primaries transmissions, but it can be bigger. I mean 2022 tooth. I tried all kind of sprockets. I ordered some of eBay. They came all and they all didn't fit. So I had some bicycle sprockets lying here around in the garage. I tried one on the chain and it works 100%, it fits, so I was like crazy. But the problem is those are 6mm chains and the sprockets from bicycles are 3mm. So what I did, I ordered 2 bicycle sprockets with 22mm teeth, and they must be this big, you know. And I'm gonna weld them together to have the 6mm size that fits here inside this chain, and I'm gonna make them here. And yeah, I have pretty bad lighting. Let's light a bit more. So now it's better to see here. Yeah. Transmission is mounted here on those L-shaped corner brackets that are gonna be strengthened with other brackets all around through, maybe to the mount that goes to the chassis and to the front and to the side. Yeah, still trying to get the belts and those pulleys and stuff what they need to make the clutch, and you know, and waiting just for the bicycle sprockets to come to fit them here where they belong. You know, I like the idea that the engine is a bit centered in the middle and stuff, you know. I love that. Let's give it a look from the side. This is about how the rear end will look like. I mean the chassis rear end. It looks better from this side here, especially when the clutch and all those chains and stuff and belts will be there. It will look something special, I think. I hope. So right here is the frame, as I said, with that extension and made by me, travel space. Oops. There it is. Here where the axle will travel freely, and here where everything's gonna be mounted, of course. Excuse me, I was zooming in. Okay. And those have to be closed, of course, later. That here, everything have to be closed, welded. Just went to the hardware store right now. I wanted to buy a bracket to use it to fit or fill them, but it was damn expensive on the next hardware store. I have to ride that Sunday to the good one, you know. And as you can see a lot of welding to make it strong enough, but that curvy bow on the top will be the mount for the shocks and suspension and springs and everything. And the frame kept its original size and everything, you know. Yeah.
While I am waiting for the drive belt to come from a ordered on eBay, I made some progress here in my engine plate, or in my engine cage, or how to call it, unit, my engine unit project. I made some progress. It's about, I built this one. As I said in previous video, I ordered 2 bicycle sprockets here that works on this chain that fits on this sprocket only primary peerless. There is no way here in Germany to find another bigger one that has the same sizes like this, only the big ones from the rear axle on the lawnmower. You don't want to mess with that if not needed. And I found already one with 12 tooth here. I wanted to change it to an 10 tooth, but they are damn expensive, about 30 euros, about 40 or something dollars, and more shipping money here. They are sold here in Germany, you know, but who knows why they are so expensive. And I don't want to weld on this shaft here and stuff, you know, so I can't adapt another one. Yeah, so I built this one, as said. The motor, the transmission drives it here. The chain needs a tensioner, I don't know, or maybe I will move the whole system here a bit to the left, but it will be too much to the left to the car. So I have to be careful about that. The engine is still not bolted, or even the holes for it are not drilled on the frame here, because I still don't know if I have to push it a bit to the front or pull it to the rear here. I still don't know. I found those, this is a generator, or how to call it, pulleys, wheels, yeah, belt wheels or something, how to call them in English, I forgot. They are from GM. A friend of mine used to modify and restore American muscle cars, so he gave me this one. They were both in one, so I cut them in the middle. It was a lot of work, but I did it. And I fitted this one. It is 19mm or 17mm hole, and the one here is 12 or something, 12 and a half. So I have to make it fit better later. It fits now. Yeah, and in the front I use here, let me turn the camera a little bit. And now, exactly. The front one on the engine is a Volkswagen, how to call it in English? Volkswagen in German here. Crankshaft, again I don't know the name, thing here, plate. And I ordered on eBay, as I said in the beginning of the video, a belt for them. They are both 10mm about here something, and I ordered one. The one here I cut off. I ordered even a bearing that fits here inside, supposed to fit here. It's 37mm, and this one is 36, so I have to grind it a little bit maybe on something, fit it inside, and this will be the pulley that makes the tension, or how to call it, the clutch will be, you know? Yeah. And yesterday and today I built those ones, those articulating things. Oops, here it is in the camera. Yeah, so they are from motorcycles. One is from a Honda CX 500 and the other one I forgot, I think it's a Yamaha or something with, you know, they don't have, I don't have the rods that fits inside them, so I had to improvise a little bit. I will show you later how on the other one. So this one will fit to the engine unit, into the engine unit. So I welded here this nut here, and I'll show you how I mount it. So I hope the light is enough. So this one gets inside this tubing here. This tubing, the same material that I'm going to use to the crank shaft, to the rear differential. So this fits inside exactly, and I have this bolt here with this washer that goes here, and all you have to do is to screw it
and then tight enough to make it one piece. Here maybe I'm gonna make 2 holes and weld nuts on them, smaller ones with screws to make it, you know, snug enough to make sure that it's not gonna slide or something, but I'm gonna see that later. So I want them to be removable on both sides, on the engine unit and on the differential. I'm gonna show you right now the differential, and they will be welded both to the rod in the middle, you know, like in any regular car, you know, so you can remove both sides and then take it off, if you could, I don't know. Yeah, so this is how I made it from this side. I'm gonna show you the crankshaft right now. I don't mean the crankshaft, I mean the differential. Yeah. So this is the differential, the Mercedes-Benz 190 differential. Okay, first of all, don't get mad of me. I live in Germany, if you don't know, and in Germany it's the land, the home country of Mercedes-Benz. So the 190s, they are not so rare here, and they have a problem because of the weather conditions here in Germany, so they get rusty like hell. And there is enough of them. They built the most built model from Mercedes-Benz and things, so there is a lot of them. It is not a problem if I take a differential and an axle or wheels from such a car to build my hot rod. It's the same like Model Ts and Model As out there in America. There is enough of them, so there is no problem if you chop the top out and make something. Here in Germany, if you do that on an old-timer classic car, it will be something seen like a crime. Out there, it's the same for Mercedes and stuff, German, European cars. Here is normal. So I built this one, it's the same, another motorcycle articulation. I welded this rod. I kept those rods here from my older system I built. If you go to other videos from my build, they will see that, you know, from the old transmission and stuff from the quad engine. So this one, for example, will fit here, and then the 30 centimeter rod will be fit here, and there will be holes that I'm gonna weld there to make it one piece, and this one will screw it, so I built it. Actually, the guy who sold me this piece, he promised me that he's gonna give me a Mercedes crank, I don't know how to call it thing, but he didn't. So I built my own. Actually, I could cut the other one from the original Mercedes, but I don't have it, so I built my own here. I don't know if you can see it. You know, just welded them out there. Maybe I'm gonna weld something here in the middle for strength and something, or here on the outside. Still have no idea, but till now it works. And that's what it's asked to do. Functionality. Now, one piece, turn the differential. And yeah, for me it's not a problem because it's not like regular hot rods. It is not a one-piece axle that moves. The differential is not going to be moving here. So if I'm a really high precision guy, I could maybe build it without those articulations. So, but I prefer to make 2 of them, you know. And the engine is fixed. It don't move. This one won't move. Only what moves is those for the suspension. So, you know, it must be enough, you know. This is what I did till now for the hot rod, go-kart, rat rod kart, cycle kart project. Call it whatever you want, as I said, hot kart. And yeah, still waiting for the timing belt to try the engine. And then maybe if the tires comes from the neighbor here, I have to put them on the wheels, on the rims, and get everything maybe working. Still have to build something else. It's very important too, is those kind of wishbones on the rear that goes from, you know, here or here, somehow to the rear where the springs is going to be mounted, everything here and the axle. You know, still looking for ideas how I'm going to make that before I try the system if it works. And then I think I have to build other stuff like a shifter. It will be a bit complicated mechanics and stuff as I showed in the last video it will be a bit complicated. The handbrake, it's okay, it will be made through a cable, and even the gas, the throttle pedal will be through cable. The old one, you can use it, I think, maybe a bit modified to make place, because I have 3 pedals now instead of 2. The clutch will be on the left, and the choke is not going to work the same as I mentioned in another episode. It will be made through cable to make it all the way to the other side of the car. Yeah, to the opposite side, and everything different. Yeah, you know, in the beginning when I started this project, I had already many ideas about making machine driven and stuff, like a go-kart or like a cycle car that inspired me. I wanted to build a cycle kart in a 32 Roadster Model A hot rod style, but it's a cycle kart. And then I thought, why not 2-person? Why not a reverse gear? And that what made me make a wider body, heavier car, bigger engine, and it ends up with that speed problem that I could fix if I changed the gearing maybe, but I didn't do that. So now I'm making this other system. I'm full hoping that I can reach the 30 miles per hour or 50 kilometers an hour, you know. You can calculate it the way I want. I mean 50 kilometers an hour. The engine unit is sitting here, just sitting on that rolling board, and it have to be higher, of course. Still have to go higher, at least 15 centimeters, I think, or more. Yeah. And then I can decide the length of my drive shaft that I mentioned as crankshaft in the last video. I didn't find the name in English. And I am hanging the differential, the Mercedes differential. I have a little problem here, is that when I cut in the middle, this place for the tunnel, it was exactly in the middle this time. I didn't make any mistake, but the problem is, differential is not so in the middle, you know. I mean, the attaching point for that articulation is not in the middle, as you can see. It goes a bit this way. So I have to change a little bit my cut out there, or I have to go a bit to the left side of the car, to the driver's side, with the old differential and stuff. Still have no idea. But now I decided, before I go for that, I have to make the mounts or wishbones, rear wishbones, I don't know how to call them, for the rear axle. So I made this same kind of those cross member rods, square rods, or how to call them, and I made them a bit curvy here, and I welded those tubing that I was lucky because I have them already, and those things here, those gummy, those rubber articulations could fit inside, so I had to press them using this guy here and the hammer, and you know. So I didn't film exactly how I did, but I did it. Yeah, this TIG welded, so it's supposed to hold out there. And yeah, I made 2 of them, and I will make the same system as in the front here. I will make it here in the rear, and those guys are gonna be mounted here somehow. And this will be the suspension. So here I'm gonna make a mount for the springs, and on the rear for those little guys here. That have to be mounted somehow here to that wishbone and to this cross member here on the top. Somehow this way or this way, still didn't decide. I know, and yeah. We're going there. Just yeah.
designing, you know. In the beginning I went for the cycle cart kind of build, as you know, and it wasn't necessary, all that stuff. But now I have to redesign that. All those years of imaginations I left behind, and now I'm going for something else. But I don't want it to look so industrial, you know. So I want it to look like a homemade stuff, you know. So for mounting those guys here, those wishbones from this side here to the frame, I'm gonna mount them on that cross member, I think, here. I wanted that to be here as in the front, but it's gonna be too much to the cross member, and I don't have place anymore for putting the spring here, you know. So I decided to put them here, and I have many ways. So I have to weld 2 brackets here to fit that thing inside, or I have to take those. See, this thing here, this is the rack, or how to call it, from the old Mercedes-Benz 190, where the differential and the rear axle came from. They were mounted here somehow, the differential mount and stuff, you know. So I'm gonna cut those guys here, this one and this one, and I'm gonna try to weld them on my frame. And I have those square pieces that I built the frame out from, you know, and they were here actually for the rear brakes from the old system. If you haven't seen that, check the video, an old video of the car building, how the old brakes were mounted before I cut them. So those rest still have all of that, you know. I got them another mount and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna cut them here, this way, so half. I have 2 of them, so I'm gonna get 4, I hope. And they can sit here on the spring top and bottom, you know, the half of it. And using this tubing here, this, I don't know, it's a fan tripod, or I don't know how to call it, you know. Those guys, I'm gonna cut something like this here, and it's gonna be welded on those plates. I'm gonna keep, of course, the sides here, you know, because they make more strength. And those guys, they fit almost good on the spring, you know. So they are gonna keep it from moving, and yeah, they are gonna be only screwed to this wishbone, I think, because they will be held by those suspension, or how to call them, those guys. They will be held like that, so they can't go anywhere. Actually, I still don't know. I'm gonna try that. Now, I hope everything works. And here in the end, I have to weld a screw or something where I can fit this guy here. This end or this end. They come from a Fiat Punto, I think, or I don't know. I'm almost getting there. So those things here are welded here, the mounts, and you know, now I have another one. Those are the pieces I was talking about, you know. Just got there and welded those in the middle. Don't have to be too much, just to keep it from sliding to the sides and everywhere. So this one is gonna fit on the top here and somehow mounted there or here, I don't know, you know. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the same side here, and the other ones are gonna fit on the back right there, on the rear. And yeah, it's enough for this one for today. Tomorrow is Monday, back to work, and then next weekend we're gonna make some progress, I hope.
See you. Thanks for watching. Yeah, a lot of work has been done through this weekend, and even little bit in the week. Monday and Tuesday I went here and I've done some stuff in the late afternoon. So this suspension system, I'm sorry for all that mess because I'm cutting just little pieces of metal and I need all garbage I have. So I cut all that system I built and I showed in the last video away. I don't need it anymore because, as I said, once I put the chassis on the ground, or the car, because it is rolling chassis on the ground, it comes down until the differential touches the ground, so I removed all that mess and I built the same kind of suspension as I said and mentioned in the front, the bicycle suspension. So only problem I had was fighting through Friday and Saturday was that those springs are 650 lbs. What does it mean? Pound? I don't know. So they was too soft, for such a length here of this wishbone and this driving shaft, and they was too long, so it didn't work. It was the same problem, a bit better but the same problem. And here on the rear, I don't know if I mentioned that in the last video, we built in such a kind of panhard rod, and we attached both those wishbones, rear wishbones, together through a rod. Yeah, it looks a little bit like a complex car system now, Yeah, and I put those guys here. It was not so easy to mount them too. As you can see, welding and building parts yourself is not so easy, Building car, maybe like most hot rodders, right rodders do. Buying frame and body and motor and everything from other cars, other parts, and fitting them together. Yeah, okay, they build something, but I call it home assembly. This is what you see here is a home built. Really, I'm building little parts here, as you can see here. Everything I built myself. Yeah. So now I'm going. So it springs, does everything it's supposed to do right now. It stays in this form until you sit in, so it is straight. In the beginning it was when you put it down, it rests down, and those driving shafts here, they go upward, the wheels turns to the inside from the top. That it was a bit of mess, So now I'm going to work on the motor mount. Yeah, as you can see in the pictures right now. Yeah, I went with that crane and lifted the motor a little bit, removed that rolling support made of wood I made myself, and put this bike lift here, and to be able, to adjust the height and everything right there, Yeah, and the drive shaft is mounted already too. So I think I made a mistake. I wanted to be removable, but to remove that thing, you have to remove the differential or to remove the motor. It's not just unscrew those 3 bolts and put it down. Yeah, because there is a kind of rod or stick here that goes inside, and yeah, it's not so easy as I thought. But it's okay, It's made my own, and I made it my own, and this is a one-piece car. There is no parts that fits on it. Yeah. This is really unique. You have only this one if you get it. Only you have this one, I meant, yeah. So yeah, I am using these old motor mounts brackets that I cut here to maybe make some screwable system here, and from the other side have to be longer. And surprisingly, the steering gear still fits here, you know. I didn't thought that, you know. It's pretty nice. So I can't fit it again. I was thinking of making something on the side here, and you know, but it seems to work, so I saved a lot of time and money. Yo, so the engine is getting there where it's supposed to be. Yeah, I think it looks straight right here. You need to take care of the height here. It's not a big problem, because even if it touches down later, I can cut this one and make it from the bottom. This one seems to be okay. On the rear I had to cut a tunnel here and make it still not welded exactly, because it is really hard to get down and weld, you know, and especially with my leg handicap I have, it is not so easy. So the front part of the body is just put there to check if this transmission and stuff will touch the firewall, but it looks safe here. I don't have to worry about that. I think this will be okay here. So now I have to engineer a little bit some mounts that goes from the motor mount or unit to the frame, and these have to be screwable from the frame side. Yeah, the motor looks a little bit tilted to the driver's side, the left side, so I have to measure it from the ground height and then organize something to make it straight. Yeah. As I said, thanks for watching and supporting this channel and videos. And yeah, see you on the road. Till the next video, thanks. Enough. Alright, as you can see right here, after all that modification I made on the engine compartment and stuff, so the old throttle pedal, I kept it, I just modified it a little bit. It's not going this way, but it is now to the rear, more longer and stuff now, and more to the right side to make space for the new brake pedal. And this is the clutch pedal. I'm not gonna explain right now how it works for those who don't know clutch. Just Google it. The clutch is that pedal on the left foot that releases the tension between engine and transmission while you are changing gears manually. Yeah. So I use the old brake pedal because I have a new one that goes to the front side of the body. I'm gonna show it to you later. And this one, as you see, when you push it, it pulls that cable here, and I don't know if you can focus on that together. Yeah. So here we have our clutch, and once I pull here, you see, it releases the tension, and when I release, zack. That's it. You must have about 1 centimeter, or I don't know how in inch. 1 inch is 2.5 centimeters. So, yeah, something from an inch. movable like this, 1 centimeter, about 1 centimeter. That's actually a good sign. And as you see here, yeah, it's a bit more like this. I have to put a spring here or something that keeps it. I don't know, still have to find. But this is all prototypes. Later I'm gonna fix all that and all the mistakes here. Like for example, the transmission right now have to be more strength before I start making my test drives, because I just ran the engine yesterday and I think that belt here pulled the transmission a bit, turned it a bit to the left here, and I have lost more tension on the chain here, so I have to push it a bit to the other side and weld it on the motor mount cage here, or how to call it, and make it stronger. I tried yesterday, I ran the engine, I even put it in gear and it ran away, and the tank here, the gas tank was sitting on a stool here, and it took it with it, and I'm thankful that killed the engine immediately and nothing happened because it ran really about 3 meters. Yeah, I know, it was pretty dangerous. Yeah. Okay, so as I said, the throttle is connected, the air cleaner is gonna come here on the top, another fuel tank will be mounted somehow that looks cooler than this thing. And yeah, let's put the front side and show you the brake pedal and all the pedals, how it works. We have the gas pedal, the brake pedal. I made it a little bit here, this shape, I like it. It's the same thing here, rod that I used for this one, I think, but I shaped it a little bit. I wanted to give it some, and here is the Mercedes-Benz 190 brake master cylinder, and this one is not gonna stay here, this brake line. I'm gonna put a copper brake line, but we have hard times fitting everything and with all those banjo fittings and stuff, but I hope soon it will work, and yeah, here's the brake. You push it, you brake, activate the brakes, and yeah, the right foot for those both, and the left foot will be for the clutch. Pretty optimistic and wishing everything will work fine. So as you can see, and in previous video that we had hard times fitting those suspensions here. So I made them, I pressed them together the maximum I could go, and it works better. This support was a little bit moving, but I strengthened it here. It works, both of them, and I'm gonna go for 1200 lbs. This is pounds, or how to call it. This is 650, and I'm gonna go for 1000 or 1200, but later, now it's not so important. Still have other fears, is that those drive shafts from the side, for the sides here on the differential, they are too long under the wheels here. Yeah, as you can see it, yeah. And I am scared that this will not hold all the system, and it is not easy right now to change everything, cut and weld and repair. I had really enough from that. So the brake swords, they are mounted out there too, calipers and everything. This will be mounted somehow later, and so the hard times I'm having right now, as I mentioned, is finding a banjo that goes to the copper lines, and I have no idea how this will work. I have no idea. It is really, there is nothing to find, and I invested already 50 euros on only the new brake system, because another 50 or more euros went to the old system I made on the other axle and stuff, you know. And if you check for banjo fittings here, they cost really a lot of money. It is about 30 euros, 25 euros. It's too much money for now. You know, I spend enough money on this project, so I have to find an alternative, another idea and stuff, you know. Yeah, other issue is that with the new axle, as you can see here, the wheels are touching the body, and the body still have to go a few centimeters, 2 or 3 centimeters down, and it touched more. So now I have only one solution, is that I have to cut on the body this how to call it in English, just like the Model A. I'm gonna show you that in this picture right now. So yeah, as you see, so if I make this one, I have to cut circle just exactly the same sides of the wheel and push it to the inside a bit, because I have place here, if you can see that. I still have a bit of place, you know. So I push that to the inside, and then I make it, I weld it like a tunnel or something for the rear wheels on the body. Yeah, I didn't want to make that because I liked the shape, how it took, but you know, when you have to do it, you have to do it. Yeah. The rear side of the body is just sitting right there now, yeah, so I have to screw it and stuff, and it goes a bit more down and lower, I mean. Yeah, this is the engine from another side. I'm gonna pull the clutch, and so let's push it here. Pull the clutch. See how it works. There's springs. It's pretty known system, you know, for those guys that work on the lawn mowers, racing lawn mowers and stuff. You know, they use the same system. I got the idea from them. I didn't invent anything right here. So another thing that I am thinking, if I'm gonna do that, but I have no much place because this thing was designed to work the way it is. So I wanted to, oops, firewall, I hate it. Yeah, so as you see here, those bicycle springs I put on the front, they are 650 pounds. Also, if I stand here, there is not much trouble of suspension. Maybe to the rear. You know, they do something, but it's not what I was wishing. And I have to put a camera here and mount it really to the body, that it is not shaky and stuff. And I drive it through some holes to see how it works exactly. But I redesigned the same system, the whole system, because after building that on the rear suspension, I discovered that those springs here, they are not built, you know, to spring exactly the same way that I use them. So they need, let's say it is mounted here, they need a lot longer here axle or something to make more travel space, you know, and more, how to explain that, more pressure on them, you know. And the way I make it, it works, but not how it's supposed to do, you know. So I thought if I can make other holders here and I put them in the middle, so they will have really enough, about 2 to 2.5 feet to the outside, and maybe they have more space to travel. But I have no idea if I'm gonna do that right now. But I can show you this drawing here, as you see, the wrong way and the right way how to do it. But still didn't try it, you know. It's just a theory. Maybe it works, maybe not. But I think it will work because I ordered the same 650 pounds springs and I put them on the rear. And just when I left the car on the ground, they just didn't make it. They just got pressed together to the end. I was really surprised, and yeah, so then later I discovered my mistake, you know, so I had to make them differently on the rear and stuff. So I said on the front, there is no benefits from making them lighter or something like 400, 450 pounds or even 300 or 200 pounds if I find them. I saw some of them for those children wagon, you know, so, but I'm not gonna go for that. I'm just gonna keep them the same way or maybe put them to the rear, to the inside a little bit. The other ones on the rear, I'm going for some stronger ones. And let's see, here you can see the brake cylinder. Let's zoom in a little bit. Maybe you can see everything from here. Let's go this way. So we'll have hard times fitting the firewall because of this thing here, so I have to find a way. It's removable, just 2 screws. I remove it, I have to make a hole in the firewall, but you know, no, something must happen right there. But I'm gonna do it. Next step will be maybe the rear body, or maybe the tunnel for the drive shaft, maybe the reservoir, the tank, maybe, I don't know. So maybe mounting the firewall. Yeah, I have to make shifters. Shifter and handbrake. Handbrake will be here. Handbrake will go to the transmission here. Yeah, another step, I have to strengthen the transmission as I said here. And then the handbrake will go here. I have already the cables and I have to make a lever here, and another lever will be, I have to find a mechanical system how to shift from here now. Yeah. When I shift here, so I have to move something, that moves something, and that moves another thing, and another thing moves. Somehow I have to shift. Yeah. So maybe soon, maybe next video, I can go for another test drive. Who knows? Thanks for watching again. See you later and have a nice week. So, right, this is my DIY hot rod project I am making, and we actually test drove it yesterday at night and it worked 100%. There were no problem with any rear axle or changing gears and stuff. It was even fast enough to satisfy me for what I was waiting from it. And it comes to the, it returns to the fact that I removed all stupid suspension systems that I was planning to make on the rear. I tried seven, believe me, no more, no less, 7 kinds of rear suspension arcs. Some of them are put in videos and some others I didn't shot, but all of them failed. The only right thing I could maybe do is cut the frame, the rear tail of the frame, and make pivots out there somehow, and make the whole side of the whole part of the frame tilt, and that will be not so nice for my body work, so it won't work. That was bullshit what I was doing the whole time. It won't work, that was wrong. But so I removed that. They're still there, but they are just sitting out there free. I'm gonna remove them later. I welded
some really heavy duty supports are there. I don't know why my cell phone is turning the light off every time. Yeah, and I drove it. It was okay, very nice. I enjoyed that. I'm pretty happy now. Finally the work can go forward. Yeah, pretty happy with the results till now. And you know, and here a little bit of tour. Here is the new engine mount, if you have seen it, if you haven't seen it already. That was my main light. It was funny. It was too dark and I needed that. Here, as you see, I made that clutch because the clutch yesterday night was jumping here. This belt was jumping up to the outside, so I checked why. So it was that this one here, it wasn't pushing enough high, you know, because the spring couldn't pull the right, you know, it wasn't calibrated. So I made this one longer and it ran today. I made test drives everywhere, and I mean here only park, and everywhere were holes on the ground and stuff, and it didn't jump anyhow. Pretty happy. It's nice how it changed the gears too. I like it, I love it. Now the work can go forward, so I made this stable right now. I fixed it out there. Yeah, the work can finally go forward. I made a lot of holes on the firewall trying to fit the steering thing here and here for the gear shifter. I don't know, maybe I'm gonna just weld them or make something looks cool, and then I'm not gonna change the firewall. It's too much material dust, you know. Yeah, and pretty happy right now because I am enjoying what I'm doing again. You know, I spent the last many months only repairing stuff that didn't work, and believe me, I own a Mercedes-Benz CLK, and it's known with its nice steering and traction control and stuff. I love this DIY hot rod more than the Mercedes. It was pretty nice. I just made some turns and just second gear and push the gas, pull the throttle, how to call it, and it works. Just runs and don't slide, and it's pretty nice. I really loved it and enjoyed the ride yesterday night and today. Pretty nice. It's snowing right now and it's pretty cold outside, so I don't have the rear camera here. I'm just filming with this cell phone. So maybe next week I will put the camera on a tripod and another camera on board here to film the suspension and the rear stuff and how it works, everything. And yeah, thanks for watching again. In this video I'm not gonna be speaking much, you know. Just showing here, for example, I strengthened the primary, you know, all that stuff here. That's my main light here for test drive in the night, you know, at night. So I started making a frame for the windshield on the front, on the top of the car. Yeah, still haven't figured out exactly how I'm gonna finish it. A fuel tank is gonna be mounted here soon. It's a cylinder thing, and on top of it will be the air cleaner. And yeah, what more? I'm building a tunnel right now for the dry flap. So here how it looks like. Yeah, this is my tunnel. And yeah, more of that will be coming in the next video. I'm going to show the inside and stuff, how I make the tunnel, and because I can't mount it till now because I need to make the other floor, the rear part of the floor. I made even a seat panel, so let me show you that. So I didn't want to make that in this video, but yeah. So here we are. Here it's a kind of wood panel sitting on two, but there will be 4 bicycle seat springs, or how to call them, you know, if you can see that. I'm gonna focus in, you know, whoops, out there, and there are gonna be 4 of them. and the back of the seat will be here, of course, and you know, and yeah, the tunnel will fit here. So this is the tunnel. You can go through the windshield because there are no glass, of course. Yeah. This is the tunnel, and yeah. So now, why I made this video is just to show you me driving the car. So let's put it in position again. Yep. I'll be driving this car right now. I'm gonna put the camera on top here, as you see, on the selfie stick that I taped on the windshield frame, and I'm gonna show the spring in its moving process, but it is a bit shaky, you know. I'm gonna see the video, it didn't went much, and you're gonna see the clutch, how it operates, you know. And yeah, I'm showing the clutch on that thing, and later I'm gonna turn the camera to my face and show you how I drive the thing and change the gears and stuff. It went a bit faster than I wished, you know, and I was a bit scared because the thing is built out of screws and stuff from a hardware store. Mostly. But, you know, yeah, pretty excited. Same time I see the clutch operating, same time as you. So have fun, enjoy that video, and yeah, see you next time. Have a nice day and nice week.